What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and for the first time in a long time, a post-match stream the day after with smiles on our faces. Can't quite believe it. With all the noise coming into the game, what actually happened on the pitch yesterday? Obviously, you were there. We're going to get into all of that in a very little bit. But let's start off with a Tottenham transfer update, because it's all gone a bit quiet on the transfer front, but Spurs have won a game. It looks as though Frank is set to stay for at least another game. So that means the transfer stories have come back. So let's get into them. First up, we're going to talk about the situation regarding Matty's Tell, because obviously we know the whole situation regarding the Champions League squad. Florian Plettenberg says that Matty's Tell remains an absolute dream transfer for Paris FC until deadline day. Tell still wants to leave Tottenham as revealed, and is internally ranked as the clear #1 priority for Paris FC. Kerry Hoare, a reliable German journalist, says that Tell is planning his Tottenham farewell. Only a dismissal of Thomas Frank could make him reconsider. Along with Paris FC, further clubs from France as well as England and Spain are after him. A Bundesliga return is currently off the table. And Sky Sports most recently reporting that, saying that Tottenham are sympathetic to Matty's Tell's current situation, but are unwilling to sanction an exit this window. And yeah, look, I completely understand from both parties. I understand why Tell wants to leave at this point, and I completely understand the stance from Tottenham saying he can't leave. Yeah, and when it comes to Thomas Frank's future, like making Tell reconsider, I don't know how he would have been feeling watching Tottenham win yesterday, whether he'd be happy with that, or is that, all right, now I definitely have to look for an exit because Frank doesn't look to be going anywhere in the very near future. We'll talk about that later, but obviously, we had big complaints about Matty's Tell being left out of the squad, unchanged for Solanke ahead of yesterday. And you have to say, fair play to Frank. And he, Solanke came in, did really well, only played 70 minutes, but scored a goal. Jed Spence came in Tell's place and was also put in a really good performance. So Frank got that one right, in that sense anyway. And from Tell's point of view, it doesn't change anything from his, in terms of how he views the decision, because regardless of what happened yesterday, he still has been one of our brightest attackers over in the recent games, and he probably feels like he's earned that spot for now. So it's very unfortunate for him. I'm really excited about how he was progressing, and I really liked what I saw. And as well, looking at how Odebear played yesterday, maybe Tell could have had a really good game if he was in the team. It's a massive shame we're not going to have seen that, but let's just hope he kind of treats this setback as he has done throughout the season, with maturity, knuckles down, and just makes himself undroppable. And maybe he hasn't quite done that, but for me, he's been quite good. So it's unfortunate, but let's see what the window holds. I really hope that he doesn't force the move or anything, and he kind of just appreciates the situation. And when he gets his opportunities again, he starts improving on what he's already shown. Yeah, look, I think quite a few fans, including myself, including yourself, maybe have a bit of egg on their face after complaining as much as we did complain on the Matty's Tell situation, because yeah, Frank has seemed to have proven us wrong on that aspect. So even more so, I feel for Matty's Tell, because he's sitting there probably thinking, why have I been left out? And then we put in a performance like that, or those players that have been put in a performance like that. So yeah, it's a hard situation for him. It really is. But he's got the Premier League games to turn it around. Unfortunately, not the cup games. I assume he's going to come straight back in the Premier League games this weekend against Burnley. Frank did say, if he didn't make that change, he would have started the game, which is just a weird situation. But yeah, look, it's all on, I guess, Matisse now to knuckle down, because if Spurs aren't going to let him leave, that's the only thing he can do. Do we think he is a shoo-in to come into the squad once the group stage is over? Depends who we sign, I guess. It depends what the squad is looking like at the end of the transfer window. Obviously, we know Mohamed Kudus is going to be out for a good few months. Depends on the injury situation. There's so many variables that could go into it. Yeah, and also I think you're only allowed, I think it's 3 changes. I don't know if you're not allowed unlimited changes. So obviously Gallagher's going to be one. So did anyone come in for Brennan? No, you're not allowed to just change it, only due to injury. So you'd assume right now Tell would come in for Brennan. Yeah, but there's also Gallagher's got to come in.
And as you say, if we make any more signings, they've got to come in as well. Is Sousa going to come in? We don't know what's going on with him, but is he going to come in? So it depends. I guess it depends over the next few weeks. But yeah, I guess from Tell's point of view, he'll only really know after the window's closed whether he is going to be in that squad, and that's not a great situation to be in either.
Exactly. So we'll have to see how it all plays out as per usual, but Matty's Tell clearly not happy at Tottenham Hotspur at this moment in time. Let's talk about Mickey van der Ven, as Matt Barlow says that Liverpool are developing a keen interest in Mickey, and The Guardian are saying as pressure mounts on Tottenham, rival interest is growing with Spurs, and there's been links from Liverpool to Mickey van der Ven as they're monitoring the situation. Any move from the Dutch defender is more likely to be for the summer rather than January, but Mickey's contract is yet to run out, so the decision is down to Spurs, and we've heard from a few different reports saying that Mickey, Spurs have been trying to tie down Mickey to a contract, and at this point unsuccessfully.
Yes, it's not a great situation, to be honest. Obviously, we know Liverpool, they have complications with Konate, his contract. Van Dijk is ageing. He's obviously not getting any younger, albeit he's still quite a good centre-back, but he's obviously not the future, is he? So they're looking for a long-term kind of statement centre-back signing. They tried to get Guehi through the door. That fell through at the final hour. So could that be Man City's gain? Could it be Tottenham's loss? Could they now turn their attentions to Mickey van der Ven? I mean, I'm sure they probably would have looked at him anyway. All the top clubs are going to be looking at him. Of course, Tottenham are going to do everything they can to hang on to him. And he's obviously someone that we're not going to let him go for anything less than top dollar, that's for sure. And we're going to want him to sign that contract. But the way things are going with Tottenham right now, it's hard for them to basically keep pace with his ambitions, put it that way. Because I think Van der Ven has very quickly become one of the top centre-backs in the Premier League with his performances. Obviously he's a bit of a unicorn when it comes to what he offers with his pace. There's not many centre-backs or any who offer that kind of level of protection with that unbelievable speed that he provides at centre-back. He's obviously not the perfect centre-back, but he's bloody close when it comes to what he gives. He's even getting better on the ball. He's even becoming more of a threat from set pieces this season, getting more goals. So he's becoming such more of a well-rounded centre-back, and I think as well he's stayed fit. So all the signs are pointing to this guy is going right to the very top. And where we are at the moment, he's obviously won the trophy here, but we've been absolute rubbish in the league, and he wants to be, I'm assuming, be a club challenging right at the top, regularly in the Champions League. That's where he belongs. So it's going to be a tough summer for us, depending on how the rest of the season goes, depending on if there's a new manager or not. It's going to be an awkward one. I don't think Mickey, from his point of view, I don't think he looks at Tottenham in itself saying, I don't like being here in terms of in London at this football club. I think it's similar to like Kane. It's more the circumstance. Like, I think he would like to be at Tottenham under different circumstances, but right now it's such a mess. If there are bigger clubs and better clubs right now coming in for him, it's hard for him not to have his head turned, considering what a mess we are in. And is there any kind of hope that we're going to be in the near future challenging for where he wants to be? That, like, at the moment, it seems so far away, and that's the biggest issue. I think that's why Kane wanted to leave.
Yeah, and obviously Kane wanted to leave for quite a while before he actually left, and I think this might be a similar case with Mickey van der Ven. I think Spurs are going to dig their heels in. Spurs are going to, command a massive fee, and I think any club that want him this summer, I think, are going to be priced out of a move, in my opinion. He goes in the summer. I mean, going into the summer, we have 3 years left in his contract, so I think Spurs will kind of tell him, you know what, stick around for another year, see how things go, and then maybe we'll assess the situation when you've got 2 years left on his deal. So I firmly believe Mickey van der Ven will be here next season. I don't doubt that whatsoever. But it is a situation that we need to be wary of, because if it goes into 2 years, that will be the last summer that we can get top dollar, top money for him. So if he is refusing to sign a contract, and if he continues to refuse to sign a contract, then it is something that we're going to have to look at in the future. But this summer, I think Spurs do keep him.
I think you're right. That's probably what's going to happen. However, you have to see what happened last summer with what Isaac did to try and force a move. other players were doing it. Whistle was doing it as well. I can't remember off the top of my head who else, but there was a number of players who actively tried to do their part to try and force a move. If Mickey van der Ven does the same, will Tottenham stand strong? We know when Daniel Levy was in charge, some players did do that, and he did stay strong. Like I remember Modric, Kane, obviously, though both of them tried to do what Isaac did, essentially, didn't turn up for training, tried to force a move, and Levy wasn't having any of it, and they ended up staying for an extra year. And
they didn't quite follow through like Isaac followed through. Like he just went AWOL, didn't he? I think Kane missed like one day, Modric as well. Like they all came back and acted professional. Isaac didn't do that.
Mm-hmm. But would he have done it if the move didn't go through? Would he have just come back in and be professional or not? Who knows? Anyway, but my point is, we are seeing players do that more and more often at the moment, it seems. Player power has never been at its highest. So it really depends on how much of a mess we are come the end of the season, and how much he really wants that move, or is he willing to, be professional and stay?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the contract situations were for Isaac in the summer. How many years did he have left? It
was like 2 or 3. It was a few.
Because I think Mickey genuinely enjoys being here, in my opinion. Obviously, Isaac probably enjoyed being at Newcastle last season. That's the reality. And
they weren't anywhere near as mess as us.
No, they weren't. I do think that he'll act professional until the end. He knows that his contract is running down. He's still a fairly young player. He's got many years left at the very top. Hasn't even reached his peak yet, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think that he'll know the situation full well. And if he's refusing to sign a contract, he'll know sooner rather than later. He'll be able to get that move.
Mm. But also, Liverpool aren't going to wait around for him, are they?
No.
If they can't get him, they need centre-backs now.
The thing is, I think he's that good. Never mind if it's Liverpool or someone else, he'll be able to get top club. That's the reality.
True.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about some potential incomings. As Bild are reporting that Tottenham and Man United have Borussia Dortmund's Felix Nemecha on their radar. Spurs took a close look at Nemecha during the recent Champions League clash with Tottenham, planning a potential move at the end of the season. The Bundesliga side are unlikely to let the player leave for less than 60 million euros this January. So obviously we saw him last night. He's a very versatile player that can play 6, 8, 10, whatever. I think it's probably his best position is the 6. And probably the style of 6 that Spurs are looking for. Yeah,
and he's also a guy who has an eye for goal. He's got a few really nice goals in the Champions League this season that I've seen. Is he like a guy who sets the pace of a game? I'm not 100% sure about that. Is he like a deep line playmaker, or is he more of a kind of, I don't know. I know he's a good technician. He's good on the ball. I don't know if he's like a guy who can kind of set the pace of a game from deep. I don't know if he's that kind of 6. I thought he was more of an 8 than a 6, but I might be wrong about that.
I think he can play all the positions, to be honest.
But again, they play in Dortmund. They play 3-4-3, and he plays similar. So they play kind of 2 centre mids. You don't really need like a deep line playmaker in that kind of system. So maybe that's something.
But 3 at the back has only been a new thing for this season, right?
Correct.
They have been playing different formations.
This season they play 3 at the back.
This season, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying in that formation, you don't really need a deep line playmaker, because you have 3 centre backs and the 2 8s are kind of both box to box, similar to what Conte did, but a bit more offensive. But I do like him. I think he's a good player. Obviously, we've brought Conor Gallagher in now, and if we were to get another midfielder in, you'd have to assume there'd have to be Basuma obviously left out again, and then maybe another outgoing. But I don't know who that would be.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Bentancur, you can leave him out. He's injured, but it's only for 2 months. I know he's 3 months. It's 3 months.
I think you'd probably leave Bentancur out if you bring him in, but they're talking about a summer transfer anyway, more than a January transfer. I like the idea of signing Felix Nemecha. I mean, obviously his brother plays for Leeds, doesn't he? And he's like kind of he plays up front. He's in the forward line for Leeds, and he does fairly well. But I've been quite impressed with whenever I've seen him play this season. Mainly only seen him in the Champions League, but I think he's a really good player, and he's definitely someone that will increase the levels of our midfield. That's for sure.
But is he
the player we
is
need?
He the ceiling raiser? Is he the guy to take our midfield to the next level? I don't know.
The thing is, I think that he can play the role in terms of sitting deep and being a high volume and really good passer. Is he totally perfect for that role is a different question. I think he can do it. I don't know. From what I've seen from him from this year and previous years, I think he's got it in him. But if you're asking me, it's like him or a Ruben Neves. I'm taking a Ruben Neves. Another player that Spurs are looking at are Pierre Kalulu from Juventus, as Team Talk saying that Spurs hold an interest in him, as Spurs are looking for a new defender this window and are willing to pay 30 million euros for the Frenchman. Don't know too much about him, to be fair. I know that, in and out the team at times at Juventus. I'm guessing a replacement for Radu Dragusin.
Yeah, I think he's obviously looking to leave. He looks like he's on his way out. If there is any truth to us looking at centre-back, then it looks like we will want to replace him. Obviously, Ben Davies also being injured now for the remainder of the season, that he's not even an option anymore. So if Dragusin is to leave, we can't even have the kind of excuse saying, Davies can fill in there if need be, because he's not an option anymore. So we're going to have to assign a replacement. This guy, Kalulu, he's decent, but yeah, I guess if he's willing to come in as a bench player, why not?
But you got the debut of Janai Beifeld yesterday. Is he going to start to get a little bit more of a look in now?
I would be shocked if we're going to see him starting games.
Yeah.
But in terms of game time off the bench, if need be, maybe.
Let's talk about Randal Kolo Muani, as I don't think many Spurs fans are too happy with Randal at this moment in time. I thought he came on last night and another poor showing from him. Give Me Sport says that there is a growing speculation around Kolo Muani at Tottenham, with the on loan forward struggling to make a real impact at Spurs since arriving at PSG. Thomas Frank will reassess in the next few days, and there is a real possibility that he could be sent back to PSG in this January transfer window. And to be honest, I welcome it, because I think he's been nothing short of shocking.
Yeah, the Daily Mail as well reporting he's not happy with his game time, and that he wants to potentially go back to find a different club, which I find odd, because he's played, hasn't he? Since he's come back fit. I know he's been on the bench sometimes for Charleston, but by and large, he's played most games, whether it's either coming on or starting. So I don't know. I didn't think Muani and game time was a problem before this report, but apparently that's just an excuse because he's not happy here. But he seems to play most games.
Well, put it this way: in the last 5 games, against West Ham he played 90 minutes, against Villa he played 60, against Bournemouth played 67, against Sunderland he played 72.
Yeah.
So he started 4 of the last 5 games.
So I don't know if that's accurate, whether or maybe it's just an excuse from Muani to try and engineer a return. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. It hasn't gone well. There is definitely some talent there, but he's queer. It's a bit of a weird one. He plays like he's a 21-year-old as a part of, he's supposed to be an experienced striker. He clearly hasn't he hasn't got like a well-rounded game. It's like he's still quite raw, even though he's 27, which is quite odd. It shouldn't be the case. And I feel definitely there's maybe something going on with his body language recently. He doesn't seem as excited or putting in the same amount of energy that he was maybe earlier in the season when he was playing. Still, he has like flashes of quality. Like there'll be moments where he flicks a ball over a player and sets up a chance or something like that. But look, the reality is he hasn't scored a Premier League goal. He has got a couple in the Champions League, but he has struggled for not even goals, but just being in the right places to score. How many chances has he even missed? I can't even think of too many chances he's missed because he hasn't been there to get the chances, and that's a big problem. Definitely he has the attributes to play in the Premier League. He's got good strength, he's got good pace. I think physically he's very competitive when he's up against centre-backs and when you pass him in behind. But when it comes to really his movement or being in the right position to score or winning headers in the box or chances, that's just not been there. It's been non-existent, and that's been a real shame. I think there is definitely a player in there, and I do think, I don't know, maybe the right manager or whatever could probably get more out of him, but unfortunately it's just not working. That is the fact of the matter. It ain't working at the moment, and if there's a chance to get someone else in this window and send him back, I would do it, because I think I don't know if I want to risk another 6 months of what he's showing, but I'd rather keep him if there's obviously no other option.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like him at all. I think these last 4 or 5 games, I think he's been nothing short of shocking. I mean, there are moments in games where he's backing out of making decisions, taking too long to make decisions, a real lack of quality that we're seeing on a game-to-game basis. I mean, I would literally let him go and give minutes elsewhere if need be. I'd even give minutes to Scarlett over Muani with what he's showing right now. And look, some will say maybe Scarlett, is not the same level of quality as Randal Kolo Muani, and that is absolutely spot on. But I think there's a clear work rate issue here with Randal, and that's just that can't fly with anyone. And if he's not scoring anyway and not even getting in the positions to score, then what's the point? At least Dane Scarlett will put his all into it. And as a backup striker, I would even give those minutes to Matty's tell and look at someone else on the wing and potentially bring in another winger. So, I think we should send back Randal, to be honest.
Well, regardless.
Regardless, yeah.
I think if Frank's not going to be here, I'd rather see what a new manager can do with him, to be honest.
But you look at, since leaving Frankfurt, nobody seemed to get him playing. That's the reality.
Well, Juve, he was good at Juve. They wanted to keep him.
So send him back to Juve. They didn't sign him, did they?
No.
They didn't sign him.
They signed 2 players on a free instead.
Well, they clearly favoured other players over him then, didn't they? So, I mean...
Because PSG wanted to.
And you're talking about... Well, they could have signed him on loan or whatever. But, look, you're talking about a short stint where he scored 7 goals and 3 of those goals scored in the first 3 games of a 6-month loan spell. So it's not like he was consistently good for them. He had a couple of good games.
They liked him, and I've seen a lot of Juve fans who were desperate to bring him back. They really thought he was a good player. So I'm just saying he was quite good there. PSG, it didn't work out 100%. Here it hasn't worked out 100%. I'm just saying I wouldn't send him back regardless and leave ourselves short. I'll keep him around if we can't bring in a striker. Because I think if Frank's not going to be here, which we don't know at the moment, but if he isn't going to be here in the short term, maybe someone else can get a bit more out of him.
Maybe, but yeah, it looks like Frank will be here. That's the reality. So I'm just not happy with Muani at all. And even in games where we look decent, he's like the kind of blot on the performance. But anyway, there is a striker that Spurs have been linked with over the last 24 hours. Team Talk are reporting that Tottenham hold an interest in Newcastle striker William Osula. The striker has found limited minutes at Newcastle and is looking to leave. A deal could be agreed for €15 million. Yeah, I've actually liked the look of Osula whenever I've seen him play. I don't think, he's nothing to write home about, and he's not, obviously can't get minutes at Newcastle because they've got Voltmader, they've got Visser now, and even before Visser when he was injured, Osler still couldn't get too much of a look in. But look, he's got energy, he's got work rate, scored a couple of goals when he did play. I wouldn't sign him, but I would maybe loan him if Muani was to go.
Well, you'd rather loan Osula and take Muani away?
Yeah, I would.
I think Muani's definitely got more talent than Osula.
Yeah, but talent is not all you need. Agreed.
And
that's why Ndombele didn't work here.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know if Muani's an Ndombele or not, but Osula's okay. He reminds me a bit of Salomon Rondon, the way he plays. Just like he's got big physical attributes, but quite limited technical ability. He definitely causes chaos. I remember when he came on against early in the season when they played Liverpool and they were down to 10 men. They brought him on for the last 10 minutes. He got a goal and he was just very chaotic. And they struggled to deal with him. But yeah, I don't think he's the answer for us. Maybe a loan if we're desperate. But I think we would very quickly get frustrated with him, to be honest. But
yeah. Well, we're getting frustrated with Muani anyway. So I think he's a player that would definitely show a bit more work rate than Muani. That's for sure.
But
and he's a young player coming through.
Muani's work rate wasn't an issue earlier in the season.
But it is now.
Okay, but you need to get into him and his mentality. I think you can stop. I don't think he's a player.
That's the thing. It's a mentality issue there with Muani. And I don't know. He's looking like a bit of a lost cause right now, Kolo Muani. It's like every game we're seeing similar attributes, and it seems to be getting worse and worse. That's the problem. Like, I was very much for bringing Randal to the club. Like, I know he's got a lot of talent to his game, but there seems to be other factors there that it's just not making it work here. That's the problem.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying I wouldn't just chuck him away for Osula. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Yeah, look, we probably won't get Osula, and we probably will keep Muani, but we'll that is a Tottenham update at this moment in time. Would anyone send back Randal Kolo Muani and bring in William Osula in this January transfer window? I mean, it wouldn't be my first choice. That's not what I want to do. But like you said, if we were desperate, I wouldn't be totally against it. I would prefer to bring in someone of high quality, obviously. But that is the Tottenham update. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As we'll move in, there was a super chat actually from L'Apprentice saying, cash in Van de Ven, make room for Vuskovic. We have talents coming through in defence. If we can get to a Champions League final, dreamland, and Romero for Ballon d'Or.
Bit of wishful thinking, but you never know.
Yeah, you didn't book your flights to Budapest after last night?
Of course, half time. Booking them.
Look, it's true. We do have Vuskovic coming through, and we all want him to be part of the first team squad next season. Janai Beifeld looked decent last night, but it's a bit too early to say if he can be a consistent part of the first team. But it's interesting. What do you do with Luka Vuskovic if Van de Ven and Romero and all these players are staying? Because he wants to play. That's the reason he went to Hamburg this season, to play consistent football. So that is a predicament we have in our hands.
Yeah, and he's obviously doing exceptionally well. But he is also a teenager. Also, we're clearly what we're seeing at the moment is the Bundesliga isn't quite the level of the Premier League, is it? Because, you know, they're second in the Bundesliga at the moment, Dortmund, and doing very well. And we kind of...
Yeah, but they've also been doing good in the Champions League, Dortmund.
They've been doing all right, yeah. They have been doing well. They have been doing the Champions League. I'm just saying, like, I think there is a big gap between the Bundesliga and the Premier League. But he's, you know, if Vuskovic is in the squad right now, would it be starting games ahead of Romero and Van de Ven when they're both
No, definitely not.
So it's a difficult predicament. I wouldn't sell Van de Ven for him. But I also think it does leave us in a position maybe down the line, maybe not this summer, but maybe in a year's time, where if one of them does have a big offer and want to go, we do have him there and he can just slot right in. So it's a good leverage to have, but I don't think I would count on it just yet.
Another super chat here from Malware saying, we finished 17th in the Premier League and won the Europa League. Just wait until we finish 17th and win the Champions League.
Come on.
Could you imagine?
17th
Could
in the
you
Champions
imagine?
League. I'll take that right now. Right now. I'll take being relegated in the Champions League. I'll take that.
Relegated?
I'll take, if you offer me right now 18th and we win the Champions League, I'll take that. Spend a year in the Championship just after winning the Champions League, 100%.
You got to hope it's only a year.
It'll be a year, don't worry. It would only be a year.
Kai Hardy says, Muani is Tottenham's Yaya Sanogo. Looking that way at the moment. Can't hit a barn door, this Kolo Muani, mate. Scored goals for fun at Eintracht Frankfurt, but that was many years ago now. Hasn't really been able to replicate that form since leaving Frankfurt. That's the reality. All right, let's get into the game last night. Tottenham 2, Borussia Dortmund 0. Nobody could have predicted what happened on that pitch last night. You know, the narrative before the game was, you know, how is Frank still in a job? Frank's got to go. It felt like there was an acceptance within the Spurs fan base, like, this is it for Frank. Like, Frank's a dead man walking and whatever. And he still might be. That's the reality. But nobody gave Spurs a hope in hell. Nobody gave Spurs a chance yesterday. Everyone says Dortmund are absolutely going to wipe the floor with Tottenham, with what Spurs have been showing over the past, well, all season. But Frank had a plan, implemented that plan. The players seemed to be behind it, and the players gave everything that they had in their locker yesterday. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. There was also a narrative going into the game saying it's actually unfair from the ownership to put Frank in that situation in the Dortmund game, to go into that Dortmund game, putting him in the Lions' den to be held abuse at for 90 minutes. It's going to be the most toxic atmosphere that we've seen at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for, well, ever. So talk us through the atmosphere last night.
That wasn't the case. I think it's fair to say. I think even from before the game, I wonder if it's just because everyone had already like resigned to the fact that we're probably going to lose, and so like before the game, everyone was like, sometimes when the pressure's off, you've got no expectations. You just like want to just get behind the team, you know. You just want to give all the support you can. And in the concourse before the game, there was a buzz around the place. It was weird. I felt like maybe yesterday people felt like this was going to be a bit of like a moment in time. You know how like certain games are like, you know, like Nuno's game against United or Southampton, Conte Southampton moment. Like, I think people felt like this was going to be like a moment. So people like gearing up for something, but they weren't really sure what they were gearing up for. It felt, you know what I mean? And the concourse was definitely buzzing. There was definitely, you know, a lot of, it was loud. There was a lot of chanting before the game. There was a buzz in the stadium. There were, I would say, murmurings.
The buzz because they thought it was Frank's last game.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was what they were gearing up for. But obviously, they read the team out and they said led by Thomas Frank. I wouldn't say loud boos. There was maybe some like smattering or murmurs, but nothing really to like report on. I didn't boo. No, I didn't boo. But there were definitely murmurings. Like, it wasn't anything too noticeable, put it that way. And then on the game side, it was just, I think the crowd were just fully behind the team. And obviously, they're reacting to what they saw on the pitch. We started on the front foot. We started aggressively. We got stuck into them. I think as well, a bit similar to what we spoke about, kind of, when Spurs were playing at White Hart Lane and in the 90s and 2000s, where the atmosphere was generally good a lot of the games, but because there was no expectation, and then once that expectation grew, all of a sudden when you're not winning after half an hour at home to West Brom, like there's all of a sudden anxiety and there's like pressure on the team to start playing well, and all of a sudden that affects the atmosphere. It felt like yesterday was like a bit of a throwback because there's just no expectation, because everyone expected nothing from the game. It was like, let's just give our all.
But a proper like European night under the lights at Tottenham, you know what I mean?
It was really good atmosphere, I have to say, from start to finish, non-stop chanting. Everyone was getting behind the team. Everyone was, the drummer was also making an effect. I think he was really helping with the atmosphere, keeping chants going and creating a rhythm. That was really great. And I think I think the players responded to that, and we responded to the players. They were jeering, they were getting the crowd up at certain points as well. And it was a great night. It was a really good night, and something that we didn't expect.
Yeah, the drummer tweeted out saying he'd probably drummed more yesterday than he has done all season. He said, yeah, it was a great atmosphere, and we'll get into all the Frank situation in a little bit, but let's focus on the game for now, because I think Spurs straight from kickoff, were aggressive on the front foot.
Before that, was it a back? What did the TV say? Was it a back three with wing backs, or was Spence a winger? Like, what would you say?
For me, it looked like it was 4-2-3-1. I know Frank said in his press conference it was 3-4-3.
Is that what he said?
He said in his press conference it was
I thought it was a back three. Yeah, it looked like a back three.
For me, it looked like Destiny was at left back, and it looked like Spence was very high up on the pitch at left wing.
Yeah, I think it was the reason why I was 3-4-3, because I think off the ball it was a back five, and then on the ball, Spence was given a license.
That makes
to go
more
forward.
sense. Yeah.
So I think that's what it was. Like, Spence wasn't ahead of a doggy when we were off the ball. He was to the left and a doggy was tucked in. But when we were on the ball, a doggy would go move out.
But what you're saying is that Porro and Spence were the wing backs, right?
Yeah.
Is what you're saying. But Porro actually was doing quite a lot of defending, but Spence, I don't think, did much defending at all in the game.
I think he did. I think he was getting back
only
in
high up
position
the
a lot.
pitch. No, not really.
I think he was.
I think the doggy had that position locked down.
Yeah, I think he didn't need to because he had a doggy there. But I think I noticed it when we were off the ball. To be fair, there wasn't many periods of this, but when there were periods when Dortmund were having a bit of possession, whatever, Spence was definitely our wing back. He wasn't forward. So I do think that was the plan. I think Spence was given more license to get forward maybe than Porro on the other side. A doggy basically didn't cross the halfway line, essentially, for most of that game. He was basically just staying there. And I think that probably helped him quite a bit because, first of all, he's recovering from injury. I was listening to Frank's press conference, and he was like saying every time I saw a doggy fly forward, I was like, a doggy, be careful, be smart, you'll come back from injury. So clearly it was a plan for a doggy just to sit there and make sure that you're covering Spence, give Spence that license, and don't because a doggy, we know how he likes to play. Overlapping fullback, get to the byline. He's very good at that. But also, has that been causing too many injuries? The fact that he just loves to fly forward and he does so much running.
Also, it was his first game back as well.
And also that as well. So I think it probably helped him that he didn't have to do that running. It also meant he wasn't ever caught out of position because he's always just there. And we know that he's strong, he's fast. And the only problems with a doggy, I feel sometimes, is when he is caught out high up the pitch because he's flying forward. Whenever he is in position and he's up against a winger, I think he rarely gets beaten, in my opinion. I think the biggest problems are when he's been caught out. So I think it really helped him defensively, and it locked down that side, I felt.
Yeah, I think Udogie gave us so much balance in the game. It was such a welcome return to him. I thought his and Jed Spence kind of link up together, and their synergy down that left-hand side worked wonders for us. And you know, I was so happy with the performance that Destiny put in yesterday. And yeah, as with most of the team, I thought everyone put in such a shift yesterday. And we knew we were going down, we were going there with our bare bones. You know, we knew that Javi was going in, playing through the pain barrier with a knock. We know Archie Gray went off injured in the last game at half time. So he must have been carrying at least a little something. We know Dominic Solanke, you know, he's been out for the last 6 months. He had to put in such a big effort. So not only were we down to our bare bones with only 11 senior players fit, but a few of them were carrying injuries and just coming back from, like Destiny as well, just coming back from long-term injuries. So to put in the shift that we did, I thought was absolutely phenomenal. In the first half, Dortmund didn't have a shot on goal. We limited them to absolutely nothing, and we get the first goal. Obviously, it comes from a corner, surprise, surprise, but it wasn't just a corner, you know, it was actually great work from Odegaard. He got a bit lucky with the way he got it, but a nice little cross to Coutinho Romero, and he puts it away. But it wasn't just the goal and from a corner. You know, I thought we were putting them under consistent pressure, and I thought we were playing really well. I think it helped so well as well, having players like Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall, because we were able to just move the ball a lot more swiftly and a lot more smoother than we have done in recent weeks. And Javi was just everywhere. Javi kept dropping deep, winning the ball back. I mean, Javi for me, I know Porro got given man the match, but Javi was man the match for me. I thought he was the best I've seen him in a Spurs shirt by far. And I just thought we had different areas and different avenues of attack, and the pressing was brilliant, and just the work rate was just phenomenal, and it's just something that we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, and I thought definitely in that first half we came out with a point to prove, as you say. I think we found something extra from ourselves, because obviously the way we came out like against West Ham was completely different. We were lethargic, we were kind of just not pressing as effectively, and I felt maybe, you know, adding Solanke to the lineup, we know what a good presser he is, so I think that really helped. I think the matching of Dortmund's formation really helped, and also I think the fact that Dortmund came out to play, they know that their biggest strengths are their goal scoring, their ability to create chances, but also defensively they do leave the back door open. They are one of the highest goals conceded in the Champions League, as well as one of the highest goal scorers. So they're definitely a team that can be got at, and we got at them, we pressed them, we hounded them, and I think what we did cleverly was we went to like a man-to-man press when Dortmund were on the ball, and we just forced them to go long, and we had 3 monsters at the back with Romero, Danso and Udogie, which basically just nullified anything that Dortmund had to offer. And then also out wide, especially when they were going down the right, where I think Adeyemi was off the right, anytime he was trying to attack that side, he was running into either Udogie or Spence basically every time, and there was just nowhere to go. That they had him on lockdown, and on the left-hand side they just weren't too much of a threat. Was it Brandt playing that side? They just weren't too much of a threat, which easily dealt with that. And I think coupled that with the fact that they're a side who does leave space, and they're a side who does commit risk, left loads and loads of space for definitely Odegaard, and also Spence, or more of his dribbling was brilliant. But yeah, Odegaard was in lots of space on the right. Javi was picking up loads of different positions in the centre as well. He was kind of like a floating number 10, given license to drift to the left, drift to the right, just link with players. And I think he was loving it and really enjoying it on the day. And he was running the show, really, wasn't he, in that first half? So I think all those different things played into our favour. Albeit, as much as that, apart from the goal, I don't remember too many clear-cut opportunities we made, but it was more just putting them under pressure.
But yeah, maybe not clear-cut opportunities, but there were definitely a lot of potential openings that we could have caused if the final pass was a bit better. Like Jed Spence was getting in such good areas down the left-hand side, but I felt like a lot of the time his final ball maybe let him down a little bit.
Well, he's not a winger, is he?
Yeah, I think he did fantastically well. No, don't get me wrong.
This is not me complaining about Spence, but I was listening to your post-match reaction saying, "Oh, what do we do with Spence now on against Burnley?" I'm like, no, you got to bring Tell back in because he's an attacking player. I think Spence showed his best, and is also why he's not a winger, because whenever he gets in those positions, he just doesn't have that final ball, and it's probably, it's always been frustrating, even when he plays well left back. That's probably why he's a defender, because he doesn't really have that final ball.
Yeah.
And he did brilliant. He did brilliant for the fact that he's being a makeshift winger yesterday, or wing back. But I wouldn't do that unless we had to. Like, if Tell's back, I think you bring Tell back in.
Decent option to have, though, isn't it?
I mean, it's a good backup. It's a good full backup option if need be. But yeah, I think against a Burnley team who's going to sit back, you need more quality.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spence, he exploited it well. I thought Odegaard was electric yesterday. Must have been his best performance for Tottenham as well, or one of. He was brilliant. I thought every time he took the ball, just going off. I think it helped him as well, being on the right yesterday. The fact it just simplified his game. I think off the left, it works because you can create more angles for yourself and you become more unpredictable. But I think yesterday, the fact that he knew what he was doing every time he got the ball. Get the ball and drive down the line, exploit that space and go for it. And I think that really just helped him and just kind of didn't complicate anything. And he had kind of certainty in what he was doing, and it helped a couple of times. Exploit the space, cut it back, 2 goals.
Yeah, I do think 2 of the goals, the 2 goals that we did score, obviously came from. There were a bit of fortune about both goals. Obviously, with Odegaard kind of mishit it at a point and got it, and that got it past his man, and obviously with a good cross after that, and obviously the Solanke goal takes a touch off his right foot, left foot, then right foot again, and finds itself in the back of the net. So, but I know it's an old cliche in football that you make your own luck, but I think that was genuinely the case with Spurs yesterday, because we took risk in that sense, and I think we did create our own luck with the goals that we did score. So with Odegaard, he was able to go past Schlotterbeck at times with ease, and Schlotterbeck is such a good defender. Dortmund's captain has been raved about over the years. I mean, I was just in awe watching how easily it was for Odegaard to just burn Schlotterbeck. I was like, what am I watching right now?
Yeah, he's a good dribbler, man. He can do it. I think he just needs that confidence. I remember watching clips of when he was at Burnley before we signed him. And I know it's only compilations, but a lot of the clips were him against some of the top teams and causing them big problems with his dribbling and able to get past really good players and create opportunities. And I was like, okay, that's brilliant if you can bring that to Tottenham, But obviously ever since Tottenham, he's been a mix of injuries and then coming back from injuries, and then he's had this psychological issue where apparently he doesn't like playing at home sometimes because he feels the pressure. He's obviously still a young player at a bigger club, decent money move, and all these different things. I think we've seen glimpses of quality. I remember there was a period last season when he came back from injury in the Europa League against RZ. He was brilliant and he had some good games.
But look at the moment in the Aston Villa game as well. For that, when we were on top of those first 15 minutes of the second half, he was central to that as well.
Look, there's clearly talent there. People write off players so quickly, especially young players like Odegaard and Tell. They're so quick to just write them off and say they're rubbish, just because we only signed for 20 million, come from Burnley, hasn't really played tons and tons of Premier League football and all that kind of stuff. And obviously he's been, if we're being honest, he's been a bit underwhelming since coming. I don't think that's a harsh thing to say, but he's not like he's set the world alight, but you've definitely seen glimpses of what he can do. And I think yesterday, he was full of confidence, wasn't he? Absolutely. Every time he got the ball, taken on his man, good link-up play. I thought him and Javi as well had a really good rapport yesterday in some of the things they were doing. In something like there was moments they seemed a bit telepathic with each other, and I think he loves that kind of link-up play as well, as much as he also likes to be a direct driving at the space kind of winger. I think he likes the intricate link-up and 1-2s and stuff like that. So I think this is a player growing. He seems to be getting better and better as the season's going on. So that's really good. I think he's growing in confidence, and I think obviously Kudus and Johnson are not on that side, and Odegaard's getting a bit of a run, and I think he's growing.
Yeah, that first half was just such a joy to watch, because I think it was one of the only times this season where we've dominated possession, we've looked dangerous, and our passing we could actually make a 5-yard pass, Yeah. Our passing looked crisp, we had them penned in at times. We were able to just pass it through them and pass and move, and really good dynamics within the team. And I don't think that's a surprise that we're seeing that with Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall sitting in the midfield. And they've started 2 games together this season, and they've both been in Europe. It was against Dortmund and against PSG. And those,
and also I think they started Burnley right at the beginning of the season.
Right, Burnley, yeah, that's true. The Burnley game as well, and the PSG game and the Dortmund game is probably two of our best games on the ball that we've seen this season.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think we actually use them that much in possession. Like, I don't think my point being, I'm not saying we didn't use them. My point being, it wasn't them progressing the ball centrally in this game, which I think led to the performance. But they were definitely. They definitely provided energy, and they definitely provided more kind of proactive thinking. But I was looking at their pass map before; it was still very much sideways.
No, but
they got the ball out wide quickly, and we were progressing the ball out wide. That's mainly what we were doing.
It's not about them progressing the ball as such; it's them keeping the ball moving, and them, because we've had a real problem with being able to do that. Even just keep the ball moving. And I think they definitely did that exactly with accuracy. Like, how many times have we seen this season when we have one of Paulinho or Bentang or whoever it may be in the middle of the park, and just our passing just seems so erratic and off it and struggling to make those 5-yard passes. Like, we didn't see that yesterday.
Yeah, they were just getting the ball, popping off out wide quickly into feet, and it set us up on attacks, and there was lots of space to exploit. And yeah, I think they did well.
Yeah, and I think Archie Gray as well. You saw a bit of attitude coming into his game yesterday. He was squaring up to one of the, I think it was it Nemecha or one of the other Dortmund players. I felt like Archie Gray was growing in influence as the game was wearing on. Even when we came under pressure a little bit in the second half, I think he was putting some really strong challenges in, and I really appreciated Archie Gray's performance. Big shame for Bergvall to go off injured.
Yeah.
I think that's the third game he's gone off injured in the last month or something, which is really not great. We have to wait and see how long that injury is. It's just something that we don't need right now with the growing list of injuries. But
they got a man sent off then as well.
Yeah, I thought it was a definite sending off. I thought, you can't go studs up that high and expect to stay on the pitch. You just can't. Yeah,
I had some sympathy with him. It was because in my mind it was quite similar to the Brennan one, where he wasn't making a challenge. In terms of like he actually did touch the ball, and in the follow through to him getting a little toe on the ball, his boot obviously collides with the knee. Obviously, it's a bad challenge, don't get me wrong. And I think in the VAR era, it's always a red card. But I did have a bit of sympathy because he wasn't like going in for a knee-high challenge, and he was like a leg breaker. He got a toe on the ball, and his follow through to getting the toe of the ball led to his foot going high, and obviously it caught Odegaard. And look, it's unfortunate for him, but it's just one of those where in this day and age, it's always going to be a red.
Look, at the end of the day, if you're going to ask for consistency from VAR and the referees, then it's got to be a red card. It's a definite red card, and this is this day and age of football now, and that is always going to be a sending off. And as soon as I saw the replay, before the ref even went back to the screen, I think everyone knew it was going to be a sending off.
Yeah, I just felt for him a bit. I thought it was a bit harsh to send him off.
And look, a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're playing against a 10-man Dortmund, and Dortmund were really poor on the day." And we were very good before the 10-man. I think we were the team with the upper hand before the 10 men, and and then after that, it just, we got on top of them even more.
Yeah, I think we did. I think when they're down to 10 men, as long as it's 1-0, they're still in that game, aren't they? Because one bit of luck or whatever it is, and they can snatch a result. So it was very important to get that second goal. We did go for the kill after the red card. We got the second goal. A bit of luck, but good play from Odegaard again. Great ball as well, by the way, from Odegaard. Great timing into Solanke. Good run. There he was, obviously, to finish it with a bit of luck. Don't know how he finished it in the way he did, but he did, and got the goal. And we obviously settled for that second goal, didn't we? Because they were down 10 men. In that second half, he was like, we're just going to rest on this, it felt.
Well, look, you say that, and we did sit back. I think, obviously, we sat back. But
which is understandable as well, because we only have 11 players. So
exactly. It's like, not only do we have only 11 players, but we got players that are half fit coming into the game. So, but we were still a threat in that second half. We still created chances. Like Muani had that one-on-one chance. He had another one where he pulled out of. Porro had that one-on-one chance where he just gave everything in the game. I thought he just gassed out at that moment in time.
He did have a true chance to shoot. I've watched it back.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know why he didn't.
Yeah.
He just delayed and delayed.
Yeah. So we had chance in that second half.
Yeah.
I still think in the second half we had more chances than what Dortmund had.
Yeah. Well, Dortmund, obviously, they were down 10 men as well, so they don't have that extra player. But we definitely changed our approach in that second. We weren't pressing high. We were just kind of sitting back, soaking up the pressure, and then hitting him on the counter. And we did have a few chances We did, but I think we were happy with the 2 goals. I don't think we were bothered about getting another goal. It was just like,
but I think
we'll create some chances, and if we don't,
the plan was in the second half that Dortmund have to come at us because they're 2-0 down, and we can create chance on the transition. And probably Frank thought that we could probably get a goal on the transition. So
I think in another scenario, we probably don't do that. We probably just go for the third and really kill the game off. But I think given the circumstances we're in, it's understandable that even though it's against 10 men, I think you just got to make sure that we're not overexerting our players out there, because we've got some serious problems already.
Exactly, and we got another game in a couple of days' time against Burnley, so we lost Bergvall. We can't afford to lose any more players. We just can't. I know we got players coming back from the ones that are not in the European squad as well, so that's going to ease our burden a little bit this weekend with more players available. But you've got to commend the players 1 to 11 for the work rate and the energy levels that they put in for the majority of the game. I mean, Porro, I thought, was absolutely fantastic in the game yesterday. I mean, the energy levels and the work rate that he put in alone, I thought defensively he was fantastic. He had his hand in both the goals that we scored as well. I mean, that was Porro's best display in a while, I think.
Yeah, and we know he's struggling for consistency. I think, you can put it down to a few things. Maybe because he's playing every single minute of every game, probably. I think that's probably got something to do with it. But he also does come out within his struggling form. He has bad games, but he's also capable of what he was yesterday. And when he's in that kind of form, he's just such a top player. I thought his passing was just on point yesterday. The switches of play were out. There was one switch of play to Spence. Where literally had to be inch perfect just to get it to him, and it somehow found its way to Spence, who obviously set us up on an attack. And he was, absolutely brilliant. Good corners as well, good set pieces. Very close to getting on the end of a Xavi cross as well in that first half. He had a top performance, and shame he didn't take a shot when he could have made the game.
Absolutely. Kevin Danso, I thought, was one of our best players on the day as well. I mean, just anything aerially, he was there. He won it every single time, it felt like. I don't know what the stats say about how many aerial duels he won, but he was just so... Him and Romero, both of them, were just so dominant at the back. Anything to come in the vicinity of both of them, they were just gobbling it up for fun. Romero in the last 5 minutes when we had that, when Porro, I think it was that the Porro chance, Romero was just there at the back post.
Yeah, I know, he was what? Yeah.
We're 2-0 up here and Romero's just...
It's mad. When we look our most dangerous. Romero obviously got a goal again in this game as well. By the way, I felt like especially in the last few games, like the Bournemouth game, this game, and the game against West Ham, the guy is such a threat from set pieces. He's almost impossible to stop at some points. I think his aerial ability has really grown this season, especially from an offensive point of view. The guy is such a threat, and I do see what we're doing for set pieces. We're blocking off defenders, giving Romero that free space, and to win that header. We're aiming for him very specifically, and it's definitely working in that sense. We're creating a lot of chances from it.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned to you the other day that, Romero, his aerial ability is not the best, but looking back at this, I feel like this season he's got so much better at it. Well, definitely in recent weeks as well.
Definitely. That's my point. I think against Bournemouth he won 12 out of 13 aerial duels. In this game he won 4 out of 6. So
but I don't think it's been the case in previous seasons. In previous seasons, I think it's left to be a bit desired for his aerial ability and how good he is in the air.
I think when he's challenging a striker, he's usually quite dominant. I think his problem is he has a lapses in concentration with his marking and then loses his man. I think aerially, when he's jostling with the striker, he's usually pretty good. He's usually actually comes out on top. He's actually quite aggressive. But people see him struggling from across because he's lost his man, not because he's been beaten in the air usually. There was one time, I think, if people remember, against Arsenal last season, where Gabriel bullied him, and that sticks out in the mind, I think.
Maybe. Always those moments that stick in the mind. But I felt like everything good that we were doing all originated from Xavi, man.
Ran the game.
Is that, 100%. Is that like a coming-of-age performance for Xavi Simons?
Obviously, we were saying the same against Brentford, weren't we?
But this is against quality opposition here in Borussia Dortmund, and they're a team on form. They're a team that will level us in the Champions League. It was a big game. Obviously, the other games that stand out for Xavi was Brentford, Copenhagen, and those 2 games really. The level of opposition here is much bigger.
I don't want to go too overboard, like saying coming of age or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, he was brilliant, and I was really impressed with the way he was just combining with everyone. The way he seemed to take responsibility yesterday. He was putting himself flying into challenges, which he has done in other games. But he was like defensively doing his work, and when he got the ball, he was taking better care of it. He wasn't just giving it away so cheaply like he has in other games. His switches of play were brilliant. His little interplays with Odebear were great. So there was so much to like about his performance. I do think Dortmund are the kind of opposition he probably would like to play against in terms of a team who gives you that space. Obviously, he's used to that in the Bundesliga. Maybe it's not a surprise his best performance has come against a Bundesliga team. I don't know if it's too much to read into that. But I would say, in a weird way, I feel like Burnley away on Saturday is going to be a bigger test, because that's a physical team who are going to be sitting back. They're not going to give him the space that Dortmund are given.
They'll try to kick him off the park.
They'll try to kick him off the park, and he's going to have to pick the lock and come up with moments of magic against a team that are trying to stop him doing that. I felt like Dortmund were like, we're going to go tit for tat for you. We're going to give you space, but you're probably going to leave space, which we didn't. To be fair, we locked them down. But I'm saying they didn't. They came into the game thinking, this team's on the ropes, we're going to go for them, right? We're going to attack this lot. And I think they just probably underestimated what Xavi could do with all that space, and they paid the price. But I do think there are bigger tests to come. And to be fair, in the Champions League, he has been pretty good. Copenhagen, brilliant. Slavia, didn't he get man of the match against Slavia? This game, obviously, he's been very... I think maybe Europe has been suiting him a bit more because it's a bit less physical, potentially, than the Premier League, especially the sides he's been facing.
Copenhagen and Slavia, though, like you expect big performances in that game because it's the level of opposition ain't great. But Dortmund is a different kettle of fish. Like, we all looked at this Dortmund game being, this is the hardest game of our group phase.
What, at home?
Yeah. No, just in general.
What, harder than PSG?
Oh, sorry. A PSG aside.
Yeah, it was. And I'm not saying they're a bad team. They are a good team. I'm not saying it's easy to do what Xavi did. I'm just saying there are probably reasons I can think of that why it worked yesterday for Xavi. And unless he takes that in, unless we see him performing like that regularly. Look, I love Xavi. I think he's a great player. I don't even think he's been horrendous for Tottenham in general. Obviously, he's struggled more in the Premier League than he has in the Champions League. But my only point is, I don't think I can look at yesterday and think, now we're going to start seeing that every week. Well, I think he has to start doing it in the Premier League first before I can say that. So that's why I'm saying, I don't know if it's a coming of age thing or not. We'll see on Saturday if he can take that game by the scruff of the neck as well. That's going to be more of an indication.
I hope he can play. I mean, he put a picture up on social media after with his ankle just like really swollen and a bruised foot and everything like that. So I hope he'll be able to play.
Yeah.
I think it's a question mark right now.
Yeah, obviously he played through the pain. I don't know how he played 90 minutes, but fair play to him. It was a top display, and I think there was one with real connection with the fans. He was geeing up the fans as well.
He was playing with such a smile on his face, man. Towards the end of that game, the camera kept like panning into him, and he was just always had a smile on his face. It was great to see.
And I think it helped him as well in this kind of inside number 10 position where he had Jeden like to his left hand side at wing back, and he also had players but like behind him. I feel like maybe in the number 10 position, how we've played it before, he's kind of felt a bit isolated, but I feel like he had players closer together this time with him, and that helped him combine. He needs that. I feel like he's been way too isolated.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
This season, and I feel like this game, he was combining with his teammates a lot better.
I think Frank missed a bit of a trick yesterday to give Xavi a bit of a rest towards the end of the game and bring someone like Luka Williams-Barnett on. I was calling for that sub for the last 15 minutes. Obviously, it didn't happen. But what we did see is Janai Beifeld come on at right back with Porro moving into midfield. I think Janai looked like physically, he looked like a match for anyone. I mean, I don't know what it looked like from the stands, but on TV, he looked like he's just another senior player ready to step in. I thought it was fantastic to see.
I was so impressed with him. Played, half an hour? Against, a good Dortmund team in the Champions League, making your debut. I know it's against 10 men, so he had the protection, I felt. He was never, outnumbered. He was never left, really, in one-on-one situations. He did have protection from everyone around him. But even given that, he was always up for the challenge. Any long ball came over, he was winning duels. He wasn't scared to be on the ball. Like, sometimes when a young player in that situation or get the ball and treat it like a hot potato because they don't want to make a mistake or they just want to get rid of it. But he was calm, he was composed. He just kept things simple. He didn't do anything too crazy on the ball. Always had a player near him to help him out in possession, and I think he stepped up brilliant. I was really impressed by him. I think him playing, he kind of came on a wing back, didn't he, rather than centre back, and I think that helped him as well to many. He always had Romero behind him to help him at centre back. He always had Odebear ahead of him as well with a bit of help, and he always had like Porro next to him in the midfield, and who's very used to that position as well. So he kind of had just got small pockets of protection everywhere, so everyone was like helping him out. But I thought he stood up to the task, and as the game grew, I think the team got more confident in him and didn't have to always be like just around him to protect him. He was like getting the ball a couple of occasions, he was driving with it, like he did really well, and it was very impressive. Obviously he played in pre-season against who was it, Luton? Yeah, and was very impressive in that game. And a lot of people were speculating, does he get more minutes and whatever. He's been on the bench a few times this season, but finally got his chance, and he delivered in a big game.
What a moment for him, man, to make his debut at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in that kind of atmosphere. Half an hour as well. It's not like it was just 5 minutes at the end. He got a big chunk of time. A 17-year-old. I mean, he is a unit, isn't he? He's an absolute unit. As a 17-year-old, I mean, you look at him compared to like Mikey Moore. Obviously, it's different positions. So obviously, he's a defender, so he's going to be built a bit differently. But I mean, they look levels apart physically.
Who would, sorry?
Like Mikey Moore.
Yeah, for sure. It was very impressive. I also thought Porro in centre mid did pretty well, actually. Yeah. I thought he was like a bit of a deep line playmaker.
I think his passing got a bit worse, actually, when he moved to central midfield. There was a couple more misplaced passes in there, but by and large, I thought he did well.
I thought his passing was all right. Maybe there's things I don't remember, but I thought like it was quite accurate. It was progressive. I quite liked him. We know that's like one of his biggest strengths is his ability on the ball, and I think it kind of suited him a bit. I think it was kind of like Trent playing there. Yeah,
he's not alien to playing in the central areas. I mean, obviously he did that a lot for Ange Postecoglou, being an inverted right back. Obviously a lot in like the 10 position for Ange. But yeah, I didn't doubt that it was going to be a good move for Porro, because those are the skill sets that he's got. That's what he thrives in. So
I wonder if that's something we look for in the future if we are struggling again.
Yeah. Could he be that 6 high volume passer, Porro?
I don't think long term. I think obviously the biggest problem for him when you're playing in central midfield is just the time you get on the ball. I think he's a lot more comfortable playing out wide where he's got time and space to deliver, and that's where you see the quality. And then when you put him in centre mid, all of a sudden you've got players you've got literally a second shorter than probably you do at right back, and it's harder to keep your passing accurate and all that kind of stuff. And maybe that comes with time. Maybe because it's not going to just happen putting him in there and it's going to work. You might maybe need to train him up there, and it's going to take a few weeks. But maybe he could do it. But I don't think that's just his perfect role at the moment.
Yeah, you saw as well what Solanke brings to the team yesterday. You know, I wasn't expecting much from Solanke yesterday. Obviously, 6 months out, looked really poor against West Ham. But he looked fit yesterday, man, Solanke. He really did. And it makes a mockery out of all the complaining and moaning we've been doing about Matty's Tell being omitted from the squad and Solanke being brought back in. We were all saying, we were sitting here ranting and raving about it the other day, saying, Solanke looks, barely fit. And he came in, I thought, he held the ball up so well, caused a nuisance of himself. I don't think it was like a sensational performance or anything like that, but he gave us a lot more than probably any other 9 has given us in recent weeks. And yeah, it was just so much more than I expected as well.
Yeah, I think he still looked rusty, if I'm being honest, and I think his finish probably showed that, even though he scored it. But he definitely just gives you these intangibles that when he's on the pitch, he's a big unit. He's hard to shake off. He holds the ball up extremely well. He's difficult defenders to deal with. When it came to him actually being a goal threat, I know he scored, but apart from that, I don't remember too many.
No, he wasn't.
And I think when it, I think that's what, similar to like against West Ham when he had any opportunity like running behind or anything, it still wasn't quite as sharp as.
But it was the hold-up play. That's what because Muani doesn't offer us any hold-up play when he's on the pitch. Richarlison is like extremely hit and miss when it comes to that aspect. Half fit Solanke's come in and straight away has shown us how to hold up the ball.
That's his biggest strength.
Yeah,
that's what he gives you. So I think he did a really good job, and it's good to have him back. It is really good to have him back because he's an important player for us. And I think people underestimate the impact he did have last season when he was on the pitch and how much we missed him in that run when he was out for 3 months. He was such a big miss. And I think even though he only got 9 goals, first of all, I actually think he ended the season in decent goal scoring form, if I remember, when he did come back from injury. And I do think he is a goal threat when he's fully fit. I do think he's not a great a scorer of great goals, put it that way, but he does get himself in the right position. But I just think, as a team, we always looked better when Solanke was there. That I think that's the truth, and I think it's going to help now he's back.
Yeah, I feel like maybe Richarlison might be a better goal scorer, but I think Solanke is a player that probably facilitates a lot more in the team.
Like, Solanke ain't scoring that goal against Arsenal Richarlison scored, or he ain't scoring the goal that he did against...
Before Richarlison scored, you'd probably say Richarlison wouldn't score that goal as well.
Or like the Burnley one. He ain't scoring that. Like, that Richarlison's capable of a few more creative kind of finishes and maybe a few more finishes from tighter angles and stuff like that. Like Solanke's very much like get him in the 6-yard box, get him in that central area, and he could be a threat. But other than that, he's going to struggle to score and get shots off. But when it comes to like the overall gameplay, it's night and day between him and Richarlison.
Look, all in all, it leaves us in a very strong position in the Champions League group. Went above PSG yesterday, which is just crazy to think about.
We're the real champions of Europe.
Exactly.
We're the real champions.
Exactly. And look, we're 4th in the group. A win against Frankfurt next week guarantees our spot in the top 8. I'm not sure like who's playing each other in the permutations if we do draw in Frankfurt or anything like that. But we are in a very strong position, and it's something that we didn't see coming before the start of this game.
I was pretty much resigned to being in the playoffs. So the fact that we've got a really great chance now of being in that top 8 is fantastic. And obviously, look, we did predict we'd be in the top 8 before the. When the group was drawn. I think we all have to accept that, we did have a kind draw, but where we left ourselves in, it looked like it was going to be a long shot, didn't it? And look, we still need to get the job done in Frankfurt next week, and who knows what kind of position we're going to be in from an injury point at that point as well.
Frankfurt are out the Champions League.
They're out completely.
Well,
so it's a
actually,
dead rubber for them.
No, they've got a game tonight. They need to win tonight to stay in it.
They need to win tonight to stay in, because they are 4 points behind Copenhagen. Okay.
If they lose, they're out.
If they lose, they're out. So it could be a dead rubber for them. They're playing Karabakh, and they've just sacked their manager, though. So, I don't know, we'll see what happens tonight. No guarantees. But, we still need to get the job done in Frankfurt next week. But credit to Frank for, getting us in this position. We have been, look, in the Champions League, at home, weirdly enough, we've been pretty good.
Haven't conceded a goal.
It's a weird one. Away from home, we haven't really been good. And away from home, we've been good.
But it just carries on the home form in Europe. I think 24 games unbeaten now or something.
Yeah.
Crazy. No goals conceded this year in the Champions League. Look, the draw's been kind for us this year. We've played Slavia Prague, Copenhagen, and Villarreal. Well, I don't know where they all are in the group, but Villarreal a second bottom.
Villarreal,
Prague third
Slavia,
bottom.
Third bottom.
Copenhagen are 24th.
So
I'm talking about the home games right now.
Yeah, Villarreal, Slavia at the bottom. So we have definitely had it kind.
Yeah,
that's for sure. So it has been, it's been equivalent to like a Europa League kind of draw, but we still need to win the games. Still need to play well. It is still the Champions League, so you can't take it for granted. That's for sure. And we have been defensively, we've been very good. I think offensively, that was probably one of the better performances. Remember going to PSG, we played quite well in that game going forward. But in the Champions League, we've been pretty good. I think by and large,
maybe the way we play suits Europe a bit more than it does the Premier League potentially. I mean,
I think we rely on physicality quite a lot, and I think we're so much more physically dominant in Europe than we are in the Premier League. Where I think a lot of people have noticed that all the teams in the Premier League, there's obviously still a difference, but most teams in the Premier League now have really focused on physicality and really focused on upping that with the technical ability. And I think we just dwarf the other teams in Europe when it comes to that aspect. And because we're a team that relies on that, I think you're seeing a bigger gap in our European performances than in the Premier League.
Which is crazy, actually, when you're looking at it. The highest we can finish still with one game to go is second.
Wow.
Which is mad.
Second in the group. I haven't looked at all the permutations about where we want to finish, who we could play and all that kind of stuff. I guess we'll see next week. But yeah, it's a pretty big game.
We know if we finish in the top 8, we play a team that have won a playoff. That's the situation.
If we draw, that puts us on 15. How many teams can still finish above us on gold? Well, our goal difference is strong. So it means the other teams who are currently on 12... or they have a game tonight, actually. I guess we'll see at the game. We'll see at the end.
Yeah, we have to wait and see at the end of tonight to see what the real situation is, because it's hard to say right now with a lot of teams still on 6 games. But great to get back to winning ways last night against a really good opposition in Dortmund, who sits second in the Bundesliga. They were level on points with us in the Champions League, so it was actually a massive game last night, and just something that nobody expected. It was just such a welcome surprise, I would say. But it does leave a lot of question marks regarding Thomas Frank now. Matt Law said today that Tottenham have confirmed Thomas Frank will take charge of Thursday's press conference ahead of the trip to Burnley. Frank is optimistic that he'll be allowed to build on beating Dortmund. So that's the situation. He's definitely going to get the Burnley game, that's for sure. I think that when we had the conversation before, I was saying, like, even if he beats Dortmund, he should probably go. But in my mind, it was just not even a possibility that we could beat Dortmund. I was just thinking there is no chance that we're going to beat Dortmund. And if we do beat Dortmund, it's probably just going to be like a scrappy 1-0 win, probably won't even deserve it, and we'll just sneak through the back door. But actually, we played them off the park and thoroughly deserved the 3 points yesterday. So where does it leave him now?
Yeah, I always felt like if he was to win yesterday, he would obviously get... he would get the Burnley game, because I don't think the board want to sack him. As much as the fans are baying for blood, and there is obviously doubt. There's a split in the board. I don't think they want to sack him. I think that they think that they have to. I don't think they want to. So I think they're giving it every opportunity to him to turn it around. I'm sure they're delighted yesterday with the fact that he got a good win and a good performance, and that will obviously relieve the pressure. And he does have an opportunity to build on it on Saturday. Does it for me? Did yesterday's performance change much for me? Not really. As much as it was good.
Well,
it's a tough one to
put
judge.
it this way: would you have sacked him after last night? Would you have sacked him last night?
I think it's tough to sack someone after a win.
Yeah, but it's just like that. That's fine. But we were both adamant that Frank had to go. We'd sack him tonight, sack him at whatever. We were adamant that he had to go,
and he got the win.
So he got the win. So you're saying you wouldn't have sacked him last night. So it's changing that aspect.
I guess he gets the Burnley game. I think again the problem is at the moment, which we're all suffering with, is the fact that it's 2 shit options. That's what we were saying. And so when it comes to tipping the scales, obviously, when you're performing like we did against West Ham and losing that game, and following on from how we've performed in a lot of games this season, it was hard to justify him staying in the job. But the other alternative is an interim. Or Heitinga or something. If no permanent manager is on the table right now, that option is an interim till for 6 months, and no one really wants that either. So I understand it's 2 bad options, and on Saturday it's a close call. It's basically 50-50 at that point. And on Saturday the scales tipped to 51-49 in favour of just getting an interim because we're that bad, and then maybe the scales tipped to 51-49 back the other way. Okay, maybe Frank, just give him a few more games and see if we can get anything. So I think it's fair to give him the Burnley games. We have won and we played well, so what's the point of getting rid of him after that? But if we play again against Burnley, and then we're similar to what it was against West Ham, that's going to be... I feel like that's going to be a tougher test than the Dortmund game in a funny way, because I feel like Burnley is going to be tougher. They're going to set up in a tougher way for us to play against. Yeah. I think we probably prefer to play against a team like Dortmund in a way than a team like Burnley away in a weird way. So I think it's also... Yesterday was also a hard one to assess. Like, if you're just looking at it objectively, we played well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from the fact that we dominated them. We deserved the win, and the fact that we were definitely front-footed and we dominated them. But if you're just looking at the objective facts, we did score from a corner. They then got a man sent off, and then the game was over by half-time and we sat back in the second half. That is what happened, and we won the game. But you still have to win the game any way you can, and we did, and we
I think that's being a bit unfair,
that's
though.
Just objective facts.
Yeah, it is objective facts, but it doesn't tell the whole story of the game.
No, but that is what happened.
Yeah, that's if you want to look at it from that kind of angle. But if you actually tell the story of the whole game, we scored from a corner, but actually we were pressing really well and creating a lot of openings. We dominated them in that first half, limited them to no chance, even before the red card. After the red card, it was even more. And in the second half, you look at the injuries and the situation that we had going into the second half, we did sit back, but we still created a lot of chances on the break. So, it was a very positive performance. So no matter what the kind of objective facts are.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying that is what happened. Did we create tons of opportunities from open play? Not really. In that second half, we kind of just invited the pressure, which I understand why we did. And maybe in other circumstances we wouldn't have done it, but we have to see when that other circumstance would have happened. I don't know. But we did invite pressure against 10 men when maybe we didn't need to invite as much pressure as we did. But we saw it out. We got the clean sheet. Absolutely fine. We did well. My point being, I didn't learn too much, I don't think, yesterday. Because I think Frank probably gets those kind of oppositions. I know we haven't done it that much, but I think those. If you're asking me, what kind of team he would probably like to play against more often than not, it would probably rather be a Dortmund than a different kind of team. Those aren't the teams we've actually struggled as much against this season, even.
Yeah, that's fine, but you can say that now. It's easy to say that now, but before the game, you were saying, and we were saying, everyone was saying we're going to get battered.
Absolutely.
And we've won the game quite convincingly.
Yeah, and he deserves credit for that. I've given him credit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a bit unfair to say that after the fact when before the game everyone's saying we're absolutely going to get battered and, is the stadium's going to be super toxic and all that. So,
he surprised me. The team surprised me yesterday by how they played. Because I thought it was a manager and a team on its last legs and everything was going in one direction. Didn't happen yesterday. We won and we played well and we deserved to win. But again, we did play an hour against 10 men, so it's hard to for example, how many times have we seen us this season play like we did for the first 25 minutes or 20 minutes, and then it dies out, and then the other team come back at us? That might have happened if he didn't get a man sent off. I don't know. Who knows what would have happened if they didn't get a man sent off and went down to 10 men and didn't. All we know is what did happen, and what did happen was he did have a man sent off. We were able to dominate pretty much most of the game, and we were able to see out the result and keep a clean sheet and deserve the victory. And fair enough. But when I'm analysing in terms of did I learn something from Frank which I didn't know, and that has changed my perspective completely on his tenure? Probably not. But do I now think he should probably get the Burnley game and see if he can build off that win? And is there any sort of momentum that could possibly happen? You might as well, because the alternative is an interim, and I don't really like that option either. So I think the jury's still definitely out on Frank, and I think it's not even those kind of games that have been his major problem, but he got the win. And especially given the fact that that stadium was probably ready to turn toxic at any point if it was to go against us, and all the narrative before the game, how he was going in the Lions' den and all this kind of stuff, and how it was going to be really toxic. None of that happened, and all the kind of doom-mongering, even from me and from a lot of fans going into this game saying we're going to get battered, it's going to be a toxic atmosphere, all this kind of stuff. That didn't happen, and I think Frank deserves credit, because I actually think his tactics as well were a big part of that in terms of how he matched Dortmund up for this 3-4-3 change formation. The fact he did drop Tell and put Solanke in, he did everything right pretty much yesterday. But also did feel like everything did kind of fall into place. With
it most definitely did.
And the fact it was game over by half time, because they're down 10 men and we're 2-0 up, and that's it. So it's hard to say on back of yesterday, this is going to be something to build on, or was it just, we played well? Was it a one-off? We'll see.
Yeah. I don't think anyone should really change their opinion after the game yesterday, as much as it was great and as much as, he proved us wrong, the team proved us wrong. It just feels like we were just one bad game away now from him getting sacked. That's the reality. So is it better just now to cut our losses and move in a different direction? Obviously, the club will be seen as crazy to do that after such a win like that. So it just feels like we're just waiting for one bad game to all be up in arms again, to want him gone. So
I agree with that.
I think it's just basically just delaying the inevitable right now.
I agree, but if the inevitable is an interim,
Yeah,
then
100%.
It's like sometimes things get so bad that an interim is just the only option. And I thought it looked like the West Ham game was that moment where it's just beyond anything. He's now had this game. They decided to keep him in charge. They got the Dortmund game, so he's bought himself at least another game. Now we have to win that game.
Yeah,
we have to win.
Look, I think everyone can certainly say it would be great if Spurs can go on an amazing run now and Thomas Frank can turn it around and save his job and everything like that. But I just can't see that happening. I really can't. Maybe we'll beat Burnley, but then you look at the games coming after that and you're just thinking like, how are we going to manoeuvre that situation? But we thought we were all going to get battered in the Dortmund game. So I guess crazier things maybe have happened, but it could be a case where he might just get enough wins to last till the end of the season, and then we'll go our separate ways then. But he's not. I don't think he's a long-term answer for Tottenham. The game yesterday didn't change that kind of opinion for me. I don't think it probably changed it for many people yesterday, but it was just great to kind of witness what we witnessed yesterday. It's not like we haven't seen good games under Thomas Frank. We have seen good, certain good games, the Brentford game, the Man City game, but they're just too few and far between. At this moment in time, in the context of what we've seen so far in the last 2 months, it's a one-off.
Yeah.
So,
and we were playing against 10 men for an hour.
Yeah.
That has to be considered.
Yeah, 100%. But even before 10 men, we look very good. So I think the club are probably right just to give it another game just to see. If it goes horribly wrong at Burnley, I want that to be his last game and us to go our separate ways. If we do win, I think it's just going to cause this thing, isn't it? It's never a good situation when it's like you're always just one game away from the sack. And I do feel like if that's the situation, you probably may as well just part ways. But then again, you're completely right in what you're saying. Like, there's no other option, really. What, you're going to go back to Ryan Mason for the rest of the season? High ticket, like, what are we supposed to do?
Those aren't great situations either.
This is what I was saying for the last couple of months. Is like, is the best course of action just to wait it out till the end of the season and there's a big manager market available? Like, is that the best situation that we're in right now? I don't know. But after West Ham, it just felt like we were in desperate need of a change. So it's really hard to know what the best thing to do is now.
Yeah, I think, as I've said before, I think we're stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. And we've put ourselves in this position by hiring him, giving him a 3-year deal, putting so much faith in him at the beginning of the season. Look, obviously, you've got to do that with a new manager, but we've done it with the wrong guy, I think. But now we're in this situation. We're halfway through a season. It's not working, but we're also stuck. And that is where we are. And I obviously don't think he's the right guy. And if we have any more performances like West Ham, then it's just going to become even more untenable. But look, we got a good performance, and you got to just give him credit for that. And he deserves another game. You can't sack him off the back of a good performance and a good home win against a good team. I just think that doesn't make any sense to do that. I think you got to wait for the right time. I think that wouldn't be the right time.
Has come and gone for now.
There was the right time, against West Ham. He could have done it. They didn't. And maybe they deserve credit for not doing it because we got to win. But we'll have to wait and see. But I think like the Burnley game, in a weird way, is going to be more of a test, I feel.
Yeah. So, look, I think big questions still to come. I don't think any questions have been answered after that performance yesterday. It was just great to witness what we witnessed. And,
sweet relief.
We actually enjoyed watching a game of football for the first time in a long time.
Maybe these players aren't total shit. Who knows? That's what I've been fed, apparently.
Yeah. So, it's just a hard one. It really is a hard one. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Do you think we do go and beat Burnley?
I don't know, I don't know. Burnley's are just a different.
They just went to Anfield and took a point.
I know. Burnley's a. I'm not saying like they're some unbelievable team, but the way we play, I think Burnley will be like licking their lips in terms of like, we'll head any crossing you got to swing over. We'll just head it away. Don't worry about it. Like, Depends. Also, obviously, Gallagher will be back. Who else could be back? Tell will be back. Basuma maybe in the team.
Does Basuma come in midfield, or does Conor Gallagher? Well, must probably be Conor Gallagher.
Plays, but if Bergval's injured, it might be Conor Gallagher and Basuma.
No Archie?
Yeah.
Well, big questions and big conversations. I'm just kind of fed up with it all. Like, they probably should have sacked him after West Ham, but then does this performance come under Heitinger? Does this performance come under Mason? You know what I mean? So,
yeah, it's hard to say. They definitely had an extra spring in their step yesterday.
And it felt like the players, their reactions after the game, they felt like they were behind the manager. Because the narrative coming in before the game is that the players are fed up playing under Thomas Frank, and it looked like they were right behind the manager.
Yeah. What did they say after the game?
It's not what they said. It was just their actions at the final whistle. All of them, embracing Thomas Frank with massive hugs and all this kind of stuff. And it looked like a team and a manager all together. That's what it looked like. Where in previous weeks it hasn't looked like that. Obviously, we've seen signs of disrespect towards Thomas Frank in the past this season. So I don't know. It's just such a mind-boggling situation. It really is.
Yeah. Maybe they. I don't know. We've heard reports that there are dissatisfied, but look, we got a good home win, and you got to say Frank was a big part of that. Like, it wasn't just because the players put the performance they did, but his setup was what really helped. So maybe there's just some appreciation there for that win specifically. We have to wait and see how it if there's anything to build off. That's the thing.
It'll be interesting to see when or if there is a breaking point this season and when that could happen. Like, if we do go and beat Burnley convincingly, are the club? Is it just going to be like every win he gets, it's just another game, or is
if he keeps winning, he'll earn himself more and more time. Yeah, that's for sure.
But like with the hard run that we've got, if we beat Burnley and let's say lose the next couple of games and then win a game, you know what I mean? Like, what are they going to do?
Probably stay, to be honest. Knowing this board, I don't think they want to sack her. I've said this before. I said it before the. I thought they were going to sack him in Monday morning, but when I saw they didn't, I don't think they want to. I think it's a lot of fan pressure, and obviously the reports. I think it's forced them to consider things. But I really think they don't want to sack him. They don't want to spend the money that it's going to take to sack him. I think they want to keep him in charge. They want to put faith in their guy who they've put so much stock into. But it was looking.
Is that right thing to do right now?
I don't think so. I think they've picked the wrong guy. But I don't think they.
Yeah, we understand we picked the wrong guy, but there is no alternative. I agree with you about him being the wrong guy. I completely agree, wholeheartedly. But that's the situation we're in. Like, we can't get the right guy right now.
But my point is, I don't know if they believe he's the wrong guy yet, as much as the fans are telling him that. And
I think regardless, I don't think he'll be here past this season. I think that's the ultimate end.
Yeah, I think that's. I'm pretty certain about that.
So it is what it is. That's the Thomas Frank situation. Has this game changed anything for you? Let us know in the comments section below. We're going to move on to player ratings. I hope you guys did vote in the link that is in the top of the live chat, as we're going to react to your ratings as well.
Got about 35 votes.
35 votes. All right. Big up. Let's go to Vicario. 6s all round. 6 from you as well for Vicario. I mean, he could have had a sleeping bag last night, and he probably wouldn't have conceded a goal. Made one good save towards the end, but I thought it was more for the cameras than anything else. But that's the only save he made. There was one really nervy moment.
Yeah, I was about to say, there was one moment was in the first half, wasn't it, where he got caught on the ball and he had to be forced to put it out for a throw. But other than that, quiet day for him, to be honest. Didn't have too much to do. Was there one moment, I'm trying to think, I think Adeyemi, the goalkeeper, played the young to Adeyemi. I don't think it was even Vicario who stopped that. Literally didn't have much to do in this game. It was a bit of a spectator. Yeah. Next up is Pedro Porro. 8s all round for Pedro. His best display in a long time, in my opinion, for Pedro. The energy levels, the work rate, the tenacity. His crossing was on point, was involved in both goals, moved into central midfield in the last stage of the game as well. I was so impressed with Pedro yesterday. Yeah, brilliant performance. I think his passing was much more on point in this game. It wasn't sloppy like it has been. I thought he actually linked up really well with Odebear. I think he played some really nice passes over the top to Odegaard, running into space, which is really good. I think Odegaard is starting to build a bit of a relationship with him, because I've noticed Porro do that a few times with him in recent games, so that's good. I think when he moved to centre mid, really stepped up in that scenario, given it was an unfamiliar position. I thought he did quite well, and I think he looked more comfortable than maybe you'd expect. So, good performance, lots of energy. Did have a chance late in the game, though, where he was through on goal and for some reason just didn't shoot, just delayed, and the chance was gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, good performance.
Cuti Romero up next, 9 from Sim, 8 from me. I thought he was fantastic yesterday. Obviously, scores another goal this season, which I think it takes his tally to 5, is it? In all
7 goal contributions.
But just goals is 5?
Yeah.
6 maybe. But anyway, I thought he was a man mountain at the back. I thought his passing as well was on point, and he was just always an option up front. Funnily enough, right at the end of the game, we're 2-0 up, and he's the one just busting a gut to get to that back post, hoping for a ball, and the ball should have arrived, but it just didn't.
What?
But aerially, he was dominant on the floor as well. He was dominant. It was fantastic display.
Yeah, when he's in this kind of form, man, he's just such a great defender to watch. He's so exciting. He's always getting stuck into those challenges. But the way we are aiming for him from set pieces and from corners, and the fact that he's getting on the end of so many, that's come with a lot of good work, I have to say, on the training ground. Fair play, because I think that's working really well. He's becoming such more and more of a threat with each passing game. We're doing things to get him that space, and he's getting he's actually creating stuff, and obviously he got another goal in this game. That's 2 games in a row now he scored. Good, nice little finish after a cutback from Odegaard. And I thought defensively, really just Garassi was not even there. It was like a ghost. I didn't even notice him. I think Romero just had him on lock, had their defence on lock, and he had a top performance, and really was a proper captain's performance on this occasion.
Fans give him 8.3. So, yeah, good rating for our captain. And it's mad to think about. I think 3 of our top 5 goal contributors this season are Romero, Van de Ven and Paulinho.
Yeah, crazy.
You just can't write it, can you?
Frankfurt.
Kevin Danso, Sim gives him an 8. I gave him a 9. Yeah, I thought he was absolutely imperious yesterday. Daigle kept calling him on the watch along yesterday, magnet head, and that's exactly what he was. The ball was just a magnet to his head. He was so dominant at the back. It just felt like every time the ball came over the top, he was there to relieve the pressure for Tottenham Hotspur. And I thought on the ball as well, he was a bit better than usual.
Yeah, I think he was confident. I think him and Romero just had the attack on lock. I think they were so aggressive. I think Romero was marshalling the backline well, and Danso was just following instructions to a T. I think he really helped relieve the pressure a number of times with some clearances as well. And yeah, look, he did look a bit more composed on the ball on this occasion as well. I didn't think he was quite as good as Romero, but yeah, good. I thought it was a top performance.
7.6 the fans giving him, so they agree with you. He wasn't as good as Romero. Next up is Destiny Udogie, first time back from injury. Welcome back to Destiny, and I thought it was a top display. Sim gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. Again, so dominant in terms of his defensive work yesterday. I think he provided good link-up play with Jed Spence as well. Kind of just kept feeding the ball to Jed for Jed to go and do his thing, and I don't think he really put a foot wrong yesterday, Destiny.
Yeah, different role for him. You don't really think of a doggy as a defender who doesn't cross the halfway line and just sits there and protects Spence, but that's exactly what his role was yesterday, kind of like a left centre-back / left-back hybrid kind of role for him. And I think it helped him in some aspects, but it also kind of held him back in others. I think he is at his best when he's flying forward and overlapping the winger and getting to the byline and helping him out in some aspects. But I also think it really did help him out defensively, and he wasn't getting caught out. He basically just was given that instruction not to support the attack too much and just hold the position, and it meant that Adeyemi was completely nullified and he had absolutely nothing. And Spence was given a bit of space to kind of do his own thing. He kind of didn't need a doggy to help him, to be honest, and most wingers do need that help, and maybe in a different situation we would, but on this one Spence was fine on his own, and a doggy just held the fort and was absolutely fantastic. And I think the fact as well that he's strong, he's physical, also helped him when it came to dealing with long balls as well, and that's something we haven't seen too much of him deal with when he's been at Tottenham. But yeah, it's a good performance from a doggy. I don't know if I don't know long term if I want to see him do more of that. because I do think he's better when I like him when he's like flying far. I wouldn't want to take that out of his game. But I think in certain games, we should use him like this.
Yeah, exactly. And he was just so dominant in his duels, wasn't he? I don't think he lost many duels yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to how well and how aggressive he played. And first game back from injuries, sometimes you can look a bit rusty. I don't think he looked rusty at all. So 7.6 you guys have given him. Lucas Bergvall up next. Him gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. I mean, it was nice to see him a bit deeper because we haven't seen him there at all really this season. And to start a game there, obviously Frank was forced into playing him there. But I think it was a welcome return to where Ange kind of utilised him a lot last season, full of running. And he was just... We had him and Archie Gray sitting there, and I think that was imperative for them for the way we played our game in terms of just kept the ball ticking, kept the ball moving, and just moving smoothly as well. Because a lot of games this season, majority of games this season, we've just seen such a stop-start kind of nature in our midfielders and our midfield play in terms of our passing, and we didn't see that yesterday. And I think Lucas and particularly Gray was a big part of that.
Yeah, it was a weird one. I think he played well. I think him and Gray did. I will talk about Bergvall specifically, but I feel like we didn't use them on the ball to kind of progress up the pitch too much. It was kind of like they were given simple roles to kind of anchor that midfield, make sure you're kind of, not even supporting the attack, you're just staying in that position, getting the ball out wide as quickly as possible. And it kind of was the role of the wide players and Xavi to provide the damage. And they were just given the task of being very disciplined. And I think they both were. And Bergvall specifically was very disciplined. It was a very mature performance for a player of his age, I felt. I think a lot of the time when he's in that position, he's quite chaotic. He loves to run around like a headless chicken, pressing everyone, and on the ball as well. We know what he provides. I feel like he was given the instructions yesterday: just keep things simple, make sure you're getting the balls out to Odegaard and Spence and Xavi, and I think he did it to a T. So good performance, but I think obviously he's capable of a lot more than that. But I think he was good.
Yeah, 7.1 the fans have given him, so big up to Lucas Bergvall. Archie Gray up next. Sim gives him a 6. Again, I gave him a 7. I think he's a player that actually grew and grew as the game wore on. He was one of the players that actually, I thought, had a better second half than he did first half, but he got involved in that little scrap as well. I thought he was really aggressive. Again, a bit like Bergvall, just kept the ball ticking and moving much more positively than we have seen in recent weeks. But I was happy with Archie Gray's performance.
Yeah, I think another solid game from him. I think he was pretty... He was fine. He was nothing too crazy. I think kept it similar to Bergvall. I think they both were very mature and kept it simple. I think he was a bit more aggressive, I felt.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think they were both fine. I think they were both good, but nothing spectacular. But I think that was by design.
Let's move on to Xavi Simons. 9s all round for Xavi. He was my man the match. I thought everything Spurs did well all came from him. He was creative, he was aggressive, he was dropping deep, winning the ball back. His through balls were absolutely fantastic. Playing with an injury as well, you just can't fault it. Going up right until the final whistle as well. I mean, every time we had a chance in the second half, it all come from Xavi, with those through balls to play through Muani, Porro. First half, he was completely dominant. I mean, he was the best player on the park, in my opinion. Yeah,
and I felt like yesterday, when it comes to Xavi, it might be the first time we've seen him actually just run a game. I think in other games, like the Brentford game and some of the games like the Villa game where he's played well, it's been him producing moments in attack where he looks like he's got that extra spark. I felt like yesterday was one of the first times he's actually just run a game from the middle, set the pace and the tempo of a game, and that was really great to see. I thought they struggled to really contain him. I thought he was a really top performance, and they struggled to handle him, and he was linking up so well with Odegaard as well. There was a lot of good stuff, and as well off the ball, doing his defensive duties, getting stuck in. Really good stuff from Xavi. So, yeah, was really happy with him, and I really hope we see more performances like that from him down the line.
8.6 the fans have given him, so close to a 9, but not quite the 9. Jed Spence, Sim gives him an 8, I gave him a 7. We called him Jedith Bale on the watch along last night because he was just a bit relentless on that left-hand side, attacking his fullback, beating his fullback. I was just a bit disappointed with his end product a little bit yesterday, which frustrated me because he was getting in such good positions. However, don't take away the job that he did from the team because I think it was nothing short of fantastic, to be honest. Just consistent consistently able to beat his man, and I think that fullback probably had a bit of nightmares last night.
Yeah, and I think that was the most surprising thing, the fact he was, as a winger, just so like, he looked like a winger when he was on the ball, didn't he? The way he was weaving in between players was absolutely incredible, and he was doing a brilliant job of just getting the ball and getting us up the pitch and getting us in dangerous positions. Even if it meant winning a corner or winning something, or just getting us or gaining ground and then laying off to someone else, I thought he did a brilliant job. He's not a winger, so that's why his end product probably wasn't great. And also, when a lot of the time he was going to get into the byline, again, similar to what happens when he's at left back, he's on his left foot, he doesn't trust it enough. He's much better when he cuts inside. I don't remember too many times, to be honest, he put in too many crosses. I don't think he trusts himself to do it. But in terms of what he did do, it was so valuable to us, and it was actually very impressive how he was able to fill in that position at that kind of standard. So fair play to Jed, did a really good job.
8.2 you guys have given him, so yeah, really big rating for Jed Spence, so big up to him. Wilson Odebear, Sim gives him a 9, I gave him an 8. Yeah, look, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on him there, only giving him an 8, but he was fantastic. He really was. He looked electric at times. Schlotterbeck couldn't deal with him. Odebear burnt him for fun. 2 assists on the day, one of them a bit fortuitous to get into that position. The other one was fantastic, but both of them really good crosses, so don't take anything away from him. But yeah, he was relentless down that side, kept asking questions, kept getting answers, and ends up with 2 goal contributions.
And what I do like about him as well is, I think something that he maybe struggled with since he's come to Tottenham, which I'm starting to see some stuff being adapted there, is his ability to run in behind and exploit the space that way. I think he did that really well yesterday. Since come to Tottenham, he's been much more like a ball into feet kind of winger. He likes to get the ball into feet and then take people on. And I think he's starting to add more to his game when it comes to running in behind and being a threat in that way. And I thought yesterday, that's exactly how he gained the advantage yesterday. And 2 great assists. I know he got a bit of luck with the first one, but you know what? He's got to adjust very quickly to miss hitting it, not be embarrassed by that, then just go and actually fired that ball across the face goal really well to Romero, and that was a good piece of play. And then I thought the ball to Solanke was brilliant, even though Solanke nearly made a pig's ear of it. It was a really good ball, and timed it to perfection. And it was a number of times getting him behind Schlotterbeck. And when he's in full flight, he is a joy to watch.
Electric,
he's absolutely electric. It's like he can be just in this mode, this Zen mode, where it's difficult to stop him. And, he's so young. I think he's got so many levels. I think once he starts getting that final pass consistent, I think we're going to have a really good player on our hands.
Yeah, I agree. Dominic Solanke, 7s all round for Big Dom. Out for 6 months, first start since then, and gets on the score sheet. Not that it was, he scuffed it completely, where it hits his leg 3 times, right foot, right foot, and finds its way in the back of the net. But look, I think that the work rate that he put in this game, I thought was nothing short of fantastic. I think he does such a great work for the team in terms of his hold-up play. Didn't have too much goal mouth action, but I think he was a big facilitator in the good work that we did do yesterday, taking men with him as well. And off the back of that West Ham game, we thought it was an absolutely terrible decision to add Solanke into the squad, but it's been vindicated as a really good decision.
Yeah, it's great to have him back, I have to say. As much as I didn't agree with the decision to take Tell out and put him in, you can see the difference he does make to the team. I think we all knew that we needed him back in the team, like in general, in terms of just how good his hold-up play is and what he provides. Also from a pressing standpoint, you've got to remember when he was at Bournemouth, one of the best pressing forwards in the league with what he offers on the ball. And obviously he gave us 70 minutes yesterday, so he's growing in minutes. He got his goal, good positioning. Obviously need to see him more as being a goal threat. I think that will hopefully come with time and with fitness. But I think it was really great to see him back on the pitch. And look, it wasn't his best display by any stretch. I think he's got definitely more to give. But I think you even saw him at wherever he was, 70 or 80% yesterday. You saw what he offers. And it's something that we just don't have without him.
Fans have given us 7.6, so rating him higher than what we did, I think, for the first time in this player rating show. Substitutes, Janai Beifeld, 17-year-old debutant, academy product. Sim has given him an 8. I gave him a 7. I think he just did not look out of place whatsoever. When he was about to come on and he was standing there next to, I think it was Jorgensen or Frank or one of them, and I was like, wow, this guy is an absolute unit. And I remember thinking the same thing when I was in the away end at Luton, thinking, wow, this guy is, for 17 years old, I was like, how big is this guy going to get? Like, seriously, he did not look out of place physically on that pitch whatsoever against a very good Dortmund side. Comes on in an unorthodox position for him as well, because he's a centre-back by trade, comes on at right back. And I think he handled that side really well. No complaints about him whatsoever, and I'm really excited to see what comes for Jonai Byfeld, and I hope he gets some more minutes before the end of the season.
Yeah, it looks like a defender with a bright future, so very excited for him. I thought he was fantastic when he came on. I think the team did everything they can to protect him, and that's fair enough, but I thought as the game wore on, as the longer he had on the pitch, they started to trust him a bit more. They started to give him the ball a bit more. He was winning duels. He was comfortable on the ball as well. So for a youngster, 17-year-old, to play in the Champions League in such a game which had so much pressure on it for the manager and all that kind of stuff, I thought he did a great job. So fair play to him.
He won 2 out of his 6 ground duels and 2 out of his 3 aerial duels yesterday. So winning 2 out of 3 aerial duels in a Champions League game at 17.
There you go.
I mean, that is impressive.
Absolutely.
Let's go to Randal Kolo Muani. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 4. I think he was the most disappointing player on the day. Comes on, with a lot of space. He had a lot of space to work with yesterday, and he just failed to make any sort of impact. There was one moment where he goes one-on-one, and you're thinking, just take it past the keeper or dink it over him or do something. Don't just hit it straight at the keeper. And I'm thinking, what are you doing, man? And I feel like he's a player low on confidence at this moment in time, and he's not showing too much quality either. And there just seems to be different factors which is contributing to his poor displays at the moment, and it seems to be poor display after poor display right now. And apparently there's talks of potentially sending him back, and I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah, he's definitely a player struggling for form at the moment, and that chance, I think it was emblematic of that. You saw the way he was going through. Usually a player with confidence has a bit of composure, but he rushed his finish and hit it straight at the keeper. That was his big moment. To be honest, the game at that point, we were 2-0 up and we weren't really going forward that much. So it's not like he had tons of opportunities, but we did have some counters which he could have done a bit better with. But yeah, he had a really didn't have a good cameo, to be honest. Our viewers though not really taking to Randal Kolo Muani right now. 3.7 you've given him. Last game they gave him 1.6. So yeah, not great for Randal. Let's finish off on Thomas Frank. Sim has given him a 9. I've given him an 8. Nobody gave Thomas a chance. Nobody gave Tottenham a chance going into this game. Everyone said Spurs were going to get battered. Everyone's saying this is Thomas Frank's last game as Spurs manager. Everyone was saying that it was going to be a real toxic atmosphere in there. And it's actually unfair to put Thomas Frank in that situation. Well, everything was the opposite to what the narrative was going into the game. I thought tactically he set us up absolutely on point. I think he got it spot on. I think a big criticism of what we've given to Thomas Frank so far this season is that his changes have not impacted games well. Well, because we had so little players to choose from, we didn't have that to really go wrong for us this game. And obviously, with the red card and us being 2-0 up at half-time, the game was seemingly done at half-time. So game management wasn't too much of a factor, albeit you got Jonai Byfeld had a really good cameo when he came on for half an hour to go. Muani not so much. So in terms of game management, I think tactically we managed the game pretty well. Well, I would say when we sat back a little bit and tried to catch them on the break, I think we looked dangerous from that aspect. So yeah, I think Thomas played a good game yesterday. Yeah, I think he managed it near perfectly, if I'm being honest. As much as things did fall into place into our hands with the red card and everything, but you know what? We dominated before the red card. We were on top. We were 1-0 up anyway, and I thought a lot of it was to do with Frank in terms of the way he changed his formation before the game, went to a back three or a hybrid of a 3-4-3 and a 4-2-3-1, played Jed Spence on left wing, brought Solanke back in the team and took Matty's tail out. When Bergvall got injured, he brought on he put Porro in central midfield and brought on Byfeld and was brave enough to do that. He could have made a different decision, and he put Porro at central midfield, and that was a good decision as well. I think he managed the game pretty well in terms of going for the kill when it went down to 10 men, and then just making sure that we're not conceding any goals and sitting back. As much as it wasn't enjoyable that second half, and we did invite pressure from 10 men, we didn't concede, and we did keep the clean sheet. And we got 3 points, and that's all that matters. So I think how he managed the game, the changes he did make, and the tactics pre-game, all pretty spot on. So fair play to Frank, gone from a 1 to a 9 in consecutive games.
Yeah, unbelievable, isn't it?
So fair play to him.
God, there's just been a transfer update, which is
There's been some bombers.
really peculiar. We're going to get into it, and it's regarding the goalkeeping situation. And ex-West Ham employee, who is obviously a very reliable source for West Ham news, suggests that West Ham are in talks with Tottenham for a loan swap that would see Mads Hermansen move to Spurs and Antonin Kinski move to West Ham.
So I'm guessing 6-month loan each way.
Yeah, which the West Ham see Kinski as their number one for 6 months?
Well, I guess so. We know they want a new keeper, so maybe they're.
Is he
thinking,
better than Areola at this moment in time?
Maybe. I mean, Areola is a bit of a weird one. Like, he's good, but he's also not good at the same time. Like, he sometimes can make unbelievable saves. You think, wow, what an incredible keeper. Then he'll go through a stage where he's like 5 games in a row, he's like chucking the ball in the back of the net. I think from Tottenham's point of view, it probably makes sense, because if you're going to... The big problem, right, was sending Kinski out on loan to get game time, which I think we all think is probably right, considering he needs the development time to be that number one. What's the big problem? We need a sub. We need a keeper. And to thinking about signing a substitute keeper who's good enough to be on the bench or is willing to come and sit on the bench is difficult. So if Hermansen's willing to come and sit on the bench for 6 months, and we send Kinski to go be number one at West Ham, I think that suits Tottenham, doesn't it?
Yeah, if he is number one at West Ham. If he goes to sit on the bench, it's pointless.
Then this whole thing is pointless.
Yeah.
Well, but surely, why do this unless he's going to be number one?
Yeah, no, 100%. So from that aspect, yeah.
Even from West Ham's point of view, why would they do it unless Kinski's going to be number one?
Yeah, from that aspect, I've got no problem with it whatsoever. I mean, Hermansen is not. He came in. Did he not come in as number one this summer and then
he was dropped?
Got quickly dropped.
I don't like him. I'm not sitting here saying I think he's a good keeper. I don't. I think he's pretty poor, to be honest.
It's just like a Fraser Forster number 2 kind of thing.
Yeah. He's actually a keeper who came in because he's quite good at playing out the back, and he's good with his kicking and stuff. But he was so bad from corners and stuff and shot stopping. He was literally chucking the ball in the back of the net on a weekly basis. And they signed him for decent money at the beginning of the season, and he just got so bad they couldn't keep him. In fact, Areola, who was dropped last season, has reinstated himself as number one. But as long as he's not going to play, and I'm pretty sure he's come in as saying, look, you're number 2. If need be, you're going to come in, but you're not going to play unless there's an injury, essentially. I think that's probably the message.
I think
if he's happy with that, then that's fine.
Yeah, but I think it obviously rings alarm bells if Vicario does get injured.
Of course it does, but I also think if Kinski goes to a Premier League team, playing week in, week out for 6 months, hopefully, and he gets that development time, it'll be worth it in the long term for us, even if it means Hermansen has to come in the short term for a couple of games or whatever. We've
all criticised like Arsenal and Chelsea for doing business with each other, being all pally when they're supposed to be rivals. I mean, what's this? Why West Ham and Spurs helping each other out? What's that all about?
I don't even think. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. We're giving them a helping hand to try and keep them in the league.
To be honest, I think it helps us more than it helps them, because it helps us develop our player.
Unless they put in an option to buy or something, but I hope not.
Yeah,
I want to see Kinski back if possible.
Send one of our players to West Ham to help him develop. I mean, I'm all for it. To be honest, I'm all for this transfer as much as I'm not fussed about Hermansen. I mean, I wouldn't even care if we just sent Kinski on loan there and used Brandon Austin as the backup. You know what I mean? I don't, is there even too much between Brandon Austin and this Hermansen guy? Like, Brandon Austin did all right when he stepped in.
Yeah, but I guess Hermansen's got a bit more experience, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's older. Oh, no, actually, is he older? Probably same age.
Yeah, I think they're similar age.
But anyway, yeah, look, I think they feel like they just need someone with a bit of experience in the number 2 role, and Hermansen's willing to do that. Then fair enough. Maybe Frank will like him. Who knows? But
not over Vicario, surely.
Surely not. But yeah, I think
they are all Danish.
Apologies. I think it's good. I want Kinski to get that development time, and if he wants to leave, and if he's like knocking the door saying, "Look, I'm not getting any game time here. I need to start playing," I think that's all. I'm good. I'm all happy for that. To be honest, I'm all for that.
Well, there's been something else that has come through as well. looks like could be some more business between Tottenham and West Ham, as apparently from Matt Barlow, Tottenham have prepared a surprise 25 million bid for West Ham winger Crescencio Somerville, which is very interesting. I mean, Somerville obviously scored a nice goal against us last week, but that was his first goal of the season. I think his first goal in a crazy amount of games.
Since October 24.
Yeah, so I mean, he'll fit our bunch of wingers well in terms of goals and assists and stuff like that. But I like Somerville in terms of what he brings, but he's just way too inconsistent for me.
Yeah,
At his best, he's good.
I was a massive fan of him when he was in the Championship with Leeds. He obviously obliterated the Championship, didn't he? He was absolutely fantastic with Leeds. In the Premier League, when he was with Leeds, I remember he was bright without being... I think he was quite good, actually, if I remember, when he was with Leeds, but he wasn't, like, incredible. But when he went to... He was like a potential, and then he was down in the Championship and he blew everyone away. He scored loads of goals and it was great.
Yeah.
Got that Premier League move. Last season, didn't really go great for him in the Premier League, albeit you saw flashes. And then this season has been as well not good at all. Until recently, I think he's starting... he has been injured, hasn't he? And I think, obviously, recently he's come back into the team. And you have to say, against Tottenham, he was absolutely fantastic, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Can't say the Tottenham owners don't watch games. They definitely watched him tear us apart. Like, maybe we should get this guy in. Maybe that's a level to their scouting. Probably.
But I'm looking at this from a West Ham point of view. How are they going to get rid of Somerville and Paqueta this January?
Yeah, what are they going to do?
In a relegation battle? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
I can't see this one happening.
Unless they need the money to sign someone else.
But like...
And they've got someone lined up.
Somerville's... Yeah, but they would need like 2 players, wouldn't they?
Absolutely. Surely they wouldn't sell Somerville unless they've got someone in the pipeline to come. I don't know who it would be.
I mean, we said that about Brendan Johnson.
I'm talking about West Ham.
Yeah.
Well, they're worse run than us, I guess. But maybe our guy Somerville. I mean, I do like him. But is he like better than Odeberg in terms of like potential? Is he better now? Like right now, how much better is he than Odeberg? Is it that much better?
I would say probably similar level.
Yeah.
Just that he's like 5 years older or 4 years, whatever it is. 4 years
exactly.
Older.
Like, does he come in and make a bigger impact than if we just give Tell and Odeberg a run?
Look, the reality is, if we're signing him, that means he's here for the next 3 or 4 years, whatever
That's 25 million
it is.
It's pretty cheap though. 25.
Yeah, but I'm not looking at the money. I'm looking at the quality. Like, we want to be taking the squad onto the next level. This is not what this represents. And in the summer, like if it was a loan from now to the end of the season, like yeah, fair enough. But if it's a player that we're going to be trusting for the next 3-4 years, like nah.
I would have liked him before we got Tell or Odeberg. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't mind him at that point because he had a great season for Leeds and he looked like he was a real talent. I was actually impressed when West Ham came. I was like, that's a good signing. But it hasn't worked out for him there.
Look, he's decent, but nothing better than decent. Very inconsistent. Like, he's not a player that we should be signing for the long-term future of the club when we've got the players that we've got. We need to be signing players that take us up a level, and he just keeps us on the same level that we're on. That's the reality.
Yeah, it's not one that massively excites me, but he also is a player I also don't mind. I don't think he's absolutely terrible, but he has also not been good at all this season.
Mm-hmm.
But he has been injured. He's played 17 games, so he hasn't been that injured, I guess.
Yeah, he was injured up until...
last season he only played 19 games. So last season he only got two goal contributions in the Premier League. Bloody hell.
He's been fit for the majority of the season this year.
Maybe he is absolute rubbish. That season in the Championship, he got 28 goal contributions.
But what are we doing here? Are we saying, all right, one good game against Spurs,
and
that's it, we'll sign you?
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it's a bit ridiculous,
That's
to be honest.
That's the level of our scouting. Look, I don't think we should be signing him. But it screams of like a deadline day loan with an option to buy.
I think it's ridiculous. I really do. But then again, who else are we going to bring in?
That's the thing.
In this January.
As I said, January's...
But I wouldn't want to sign him. A loan move, fine, but not to spend money on and to have him here for the squad for the next 3-4 years. Like, it's a bit of a joke.
Yeah, doesn't make sense. Again, squad planning. It's another left winger as well. So we've got 3 left wingers, like in Odeberg, Tell and him, who are all...
Maybe
like,
Odeberg's seen as a right winger now.
Maybe after yesterday. But you can't make all these judgments after one game. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I wouldn't be signing Somerville.
25 million for Crescencio Somerville. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you like to see Somerville at Tottenham? I mean, I doubt many of people say yes.
Maybe it's a case of he's just at a bad club, and if he comes to Tottenham, we'll get the best out of him.
Yeah.
Because he was brilliant at Leeds in that season in the Championship.
In the Championship, yeah.
Yeah, but still, he was like 21, ripping it up. There's nothing to be sniffed at.
True, but Manor Solomon was incredible for Leeds in the Championship as well, and we've let him go
Good point.
out the door straight away.
Good point.
So, I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of this. I'm not too happy with it, to be honest, but let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Spurs doing their shopping at West Ham this January, it seems. we want them down as soon as possible, it seems like.
Well, if we... people said if you sign Brentford, you'd become Brentford. Maybe it's the same with West Ham. We're going to be down at 8 teams soon. Yeah. We're going to be swapping places with them.
Maybe we'll win the Conference League next season.
Hello.
All right, well, that's that situation. Let's go and see how the internet did react to the game yesterday. Granite says, this is the first time Dortmund doesn't record a single shot in a half in Europe since 2003. Come on.
Impressive. And I think nullifying in the way we did was probably the most impressive thing about yesterday. I think doing it while also, but this is what I mean about the way you attack influences the way you defend. Because yesterday we kept them out not because we defended loads. That's not how we kept them out. We kept them out by going at them, and that's what we just we've been so passive in a lot of our games this season, just inviting pressure, and it's like. Because you restrict sometimes them to long shots or whatever, it's like, oh, you're defending well. It's like, but you're not, how much you've given up in your attacking to do that. And yesterday, we go at them, we pen them in, we press them high, we attack them, and then look out loud, they have no shots.
Do you think it is a possibility that after yesterday, maybe the penny might have dropped a little bit with Frank, or is it just a one-off game and he was like forced in the changes that he made?
I don't think the penny of dropped. I don't think he changed much yesterday. I think that's how we've been trying to play. I just think it worked better in this game, and I think in the Premier League, it's that way of playing is harder to pull off because I think it just relies on a lot of physicality.
But I mean, recently we go with the midfielders of like Palhinha or Bentancur, and we were forced to play Bergvall and Archie Gray yesterday together. And obviously, it looked a lot more crisper in the middle of the park when we were trying to play our football. So I'm talking about from that kind of aspect.
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know if just playing Bergvall and Gray is going to change everything for us. But
no, but it should look a lot better, though.
Did yesterday.
Yeah, and against PSG.
Well, Bentancur also played that game, didn't he?
Yeah, we played 4-2-2-2 that game, yeah.
4-2-2-2.
This next one says, Javi's mascot did the Sonny celebration yesterday.
Oh, he knows. Javi's got a little smile on his face.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
Javi's loving it. Bleacher Report Football saying Tottenham beat Dortmund 2-0, are currently in the top 8 of the Champions League table. Look at this, me.
That's literally how it is at the moment. I think that Tottenham in the Premier League is a bit big.
Yeah, probably.
A bit smaller than that.
Probably. Live Score saying that Spurs are the only side to win all 4 Champions League games at home this season without conceding.
How is this, sir? Like, we're so bad at home in the Premier League and the Champions League. We're the best team in Europe.
We've played poor opposition at home.
Best team in Europe.
Yeah. Statistics.
We just lost to West Ham.
I know. I know we did.
And drew to Wolves.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, I don't get it, man. Centre goals, and maybe it just shows as well the levels between the Premier League and other leagues.
Yeah, I think that definitely is the case, to be honest. I think people don't realise that these teams we consider absolute rubbish, the level of the Premier League is so high. I really think that. Look at the Champions League. Like everyone says, the Premier League. They look at the table and they say, it's such a bad state of Premier League. Everyone's rubbish. But then you look at the Champions League table. They're all in like the top 10. All the teams.
Yeah, and you look at like England compared to Spain, for example. Every English team has battered every Spanish team. Arsenal wiping the floor with Atletico. Chelsea wiping the floor with Barcelona. Liverpool, this Liverpool side who were in one of their worst moments at the time, beat Real Madrid.
We have 6.
We beat Villarreal.
We have 6 teams in the Champions League. No one is below 14th. Chelsea are the lowest at 14th.
And they've got a game tonight to go where? Where can they go?
They could go into, depending on goal difference, they can go all the way up to 5th.
Exactly.
And Liverpool as well. And Newcastle could all go really high up. So, like, the English teams wouldn't be doing so badly if they're all rubbish.
Yeah, and look,
it's just the level of the Premier League is
that's
high.
England against Spain. Look at England against Germany as well. Arsenal wiped the floor with Bayern Munich. We just wiped the floor with Dortmund. Right?
And they're second in the Bundesliga, with 14th.
Yeah. Centre Goals saying Tottenham are the only side that haven't conceded a single goal at home in the Champions League this season. Big up. Tottenham tweeting out, a night Janai will never forget. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What a night for Junai Byfeld last night.
I'm so happy that, all the players have just been so excited for him as well and been helping him, in the dressing room, and they've always been talking him up. A lot of players have been very impressed with him. Frank was talking about after the game how he's been very impressive in training, and all the players really rate him so highly. So really excited about him and what the future holds. I really am.
Billy T, big up Billy, says what Javi was playing through and a monster performance too. What a player. This was Javi put his feet on Instagram last night. Look at that, an ankle swollen, bruised foot. And he put in a man of match display and his best display in a Spurs shirt so far.
Amazing.
Let it all work out.
Just what he went through to pull off that performance. So fair play to him. That couldn't have been easy.
Well, Eze can't get any minutes for Arsenal in the Premier League anyway.
Maybe he needs an ankle like Javi's.
Yeah. Jeremy Clements.
This is something else you can skip over. That's just about
FB Ref is dead, basically.
Yeah, FB Ref is rest in peace, FB Ref, which I'm really unhappy about. I'm not happy at all about that. But anyway, discussion for a different time.
Lily White Rose saying the start of something special, and just look at that unit. He is massive. This is the shot that I was talking about in the player ratings.
How is he 17?
Mad.
Crazy.
Sigma, never compare JK motion to One Piece again. I mean, I don't know what any of that means.
I don't know what that means, but that's just what Solanke's celebration was.
Yeah.
Which is, and one we haven't seen yet. I think some of the reporters were like, you were seen laughing after your goal. Like, what were you like? I was like, no, it was just a celebration.
Tottenham tweeted out first goal of the season for Dom, and he did the celebration because his wife or girlfriend is pregnant at this moment in time as well. So he put the ball inside his belly, as they usually do when that happens.
Fantastic. What a day that is for him.
Yeah, congratulations, Dom. Tottenham tweeting this one as well, saying starting fast.
It's Kuti. So Kuti, man, he's becoming our best goal scorer.
He is, yeah.
It's mental. He's literally our biggest threat in the box.
Yeah, by far as well. Touchline says a stat. Romero reaches 7 goal contributions this season in all competition, and he's a centre-back. And that's Van der Ven's also got 7, doesn't he? Or 6? 6 or 7.
So they both going to reach 10?
Yeah. I wouldn't be against it at this point.
That's good.
Zeus says 17th and Champions League it is then.
It's going to have to be. It's going to have to be. As long as it's 17th and then no lower.
Exactly. You know how it goes now. 17th, you know the rest. We're going to Budapest.
Hey, there you go. We're going to start chanting that now. It's a great tune.
Charlie Paris says, love seeing Javi Simmons playing with a grin on his face. Remain convinced he's the club's next superstar. And yeah, he really did. I mean, as the game wore on, he was just growing and growing in influence, growing in confidence, and the smile was just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and he seemed to be really enjoying himself out there. So hopefully those are the performances we can start to get used to for Javi. Look, I think it's clear there's so much talent there.
Yeah.
We just need to facilitate it. We need to be getting the best out of him, and I don't think we've done a good job at all doing that this season.
Tottenham tweeted this out saying 4 home wins from 4 Champions League games. Thank you for your support. Look at the smiles.
There you go. I think everyone, including the players especially, they all needed that yesterday. They needed a big result, especially at home.
Well, look, it needs to kickstart something. Otherwise, it means not much. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of what the outlook of the season can look like. Obviously, it means a lot in terms of the Champions League group stage, but I'm talking about really kickstarting our season. If we follow this up with what we've seen against West Ham and against Aston Villa, against Burnley, then we're back to square one.
I agree.
Spurs Army, Jed Spence via Instagram saying new position unlocked? ?
Exactly. He's gonna breaking all the other fullbacks penitentiaries.
Yeah. I don't know if you've got it here, but he also replied to Javi Simmons' feet Instagram picture. Did you like that?
No.
He says, "Cream your foot, bro."
God.
Maastricht, this is Javi. Look how delighted he was yesterday. Look at that. Just great to see him with a smile on his face. Because I was thinking in his pre-match press conference, he was looking a bit depressed in that press conference. And then 24 hours later, look what he's doing.
Yeah, I think us being at home as well, given how bad the home form is and given how toxic the atmosphere, I think everyone, we needed that yesterday, We really needed a big performance, getting the crowd on side, and I think everyone just fed off each other, and we saw there Xavi having a moment with the crowd, and everyone's loving it. It was great. It was great to see.
George Bannister tweeted this meme up. How are we in this company? How? Arsenal, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich and PSG, and Tottenham sit fourth.
How'd you get up there? I fell. Like that.
Sean THFC saying, obviously, we're top of the home table in the Champions League. 10 goals scored, 0 conceded.
Yeah, we're the best team at home in the Champions League. How has that happened? It's just crazy. But yeah, fair play. Fair play to Spurs.
Sporting have already also won all their home games.
So maybe it wasn't Amorim.
Man, they beat PSG yesterday, which is crazy.
I think that... Oh, no, it's a bit more. But
Joe Dinham saying he saw you at the stadium last night.
Big up to Joe. Yeah, he was in the stands. It's a good little picture. Big up to you.
Look at that face bomb behind you. That photo bomb.
Yes, he was from America as well. He was from Texas, I think. And we were hanging out as well after. He's running for Congress, apparently.
Oh, really?
The youngest congressman. Impressive.
Nice to have a Tottenham fan in Congress.
I told him, you got any spare room in the budget for some signings?
This next one, Borussia Dortmund tried to troll Tottenham before the game yesterday by tweeting this out. Spurs be like.
Come on.
Should never do that before a game, man. It's always going to get thrown back in your face. As soon as I saw that, I had a feeling. I didn't say the feeling on stream, though.
Didn't have a funny feeling.
To be honest, I said it on stream, this is the first game I haven't had a funny feeling for. ESPN, we've been through that. And this actually, reminder, clubs finishing in the top 8 of the league phase will be drawn against the winners of the knockout playoff phase in round 16. Teams who finish in the top 4 will play the round of 16 second leg and quarterfinal second leg at home. Top 2 teams will have a home advantage in the round of 16 quarterfinals and semi-final in the second leg.
Okay, wait a minute. Teams who finish top 4 play the round of 16 second leg. Okay, nice. So, need to get in that top 4.
Yeah. Spurs, a football on TNT saying Spurs are the only side that haven't conceded a single goal at home. Opta Analyst says, which teams will make it through the league phase of the 25-26 UEFA Champions League into the knockouts? So basically, we are now 21% to finish in the top 8. Is that what it's saying?
Is that it? Yeah. No, this is old.
Oh, this is before the game.
Yeah, this is old.
Oh, it's got to be a much higher percentage than that now.
Yeah, we've got to be much higher now.
All right, well, that is it. That is the way the internet did react to the game. Big up to everyone. That is...
Ben Jacobs also saying Somerville.
Why, man? Why? It just...
Inquired.
Smacks of crap.
Somerville? What is our scouting? What is it?
See, Lang, that's what it is.
I don't get this. Surely it's a throwing them off the scent. Lang's working in the shadows.
Unfortunately,
in darkness, the clouds of darkness.
Unfortunately, this is Lang's level. Scouting.
Oh, is he not working?
He had a good game against Tottenham. All right, sign him up.
Is he not working in the shadows?
If West Ham are willing to get rid of him for 25 million, that should tell you everything. In a relegation battle as well.
God. Crescentia, all right. Get the Somerville comp out. Want to watch it.
The thing is, his comp will look good.
His comp will look good.
Yeah.
All leads.
And that one goal against Spurs.
God. He gets one goal in the past 2 years, and we're signing him.
I think it's ridiculous. I really do. All right. Well, that is that. We'll see you all maybe later on for another transfer update. Who knows? But for now, that is it. Is there any surprise that Frank's got that win against Dortmund and suddenly the transfer news starts coming back again? Because it was a bit of a lull period when it looked like Frank was getting sacked.
Maybe it's not a surprise, to be honest. Maybe it's not. Because I think at the moment it's tough to put transfer plans when you're not sure what's happening to the manager. It seems as though at the moment they're just going to stick with it, so maybe they can get back to sorting out the transfers now. But because you know, when you're talking about transfers, Frank's obviously going to have a say, isn't he? Would an interim have a say in transfers? No. So how can you can't really plan for it without knowing exactly what's happening with the manager?
Yeah. Well, Somerville and Hermansen.
When you put it like that, that's going to be our business. Oh, so exciting.
Saw an ITK saying Spurs are bringing in 2 more this window.
That's
if those 2 more are Somerville and Hermansen, oh my
finished,
God,
man.
end the season now.
We are finished.
Jesus Christ. But anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comment section. We'll see you all later. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.